And we are live.
Hello.
Hello,
Oh,
everyone.
and he's not here. Or no.
I'm here. I'm
did you
here.
just covered? Okay, I was like,
I'm just covered for
oh.
a sec. Yeah, because I'm getting some Tiger Bomb on the arm. After that, I'll be good to go. But I can start.
Hi guys, how are you?
Welcome back, Zorro.
Hi. We're excited to have you back.
Thanks.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thanks. Yeah, I can finally have a normal schedule and play, my 5 D&D games a week. So,
Only 5? I'm disappointed in you.
Rookie numbers.
He's been slacking.
No, hold up. More than that.
So
For now,
what
until
I'm
Sonata
hearing is
comes
then we're going to be
around.
doing TOTOR every week now, just to increase the burden on Zorro.
I mean,
Got it.
We probably could. Just
It depends
just
on Tam and
know-
you.
And just know that the week I do have Babu is I can still stream it and everything, of course. I'm just gonna be slightly AFK for
I mean, I don't mind starting it an hour late if it's easier for you guys to put the kids down.
You just meant she goes down between 7:30, which is when we start.
Well, we can start at 8 is what I'm saying if it's easier. Up to you guys, though.
We'll figure it out.
We will figure it out.
Hi. I know this isn't the right show, but happy N7 Day.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah.
We will awkward. Yeah.
It is
I know.
space theme, though.
May the
It's
force
not
be with
Star
you all.
Trek, but it's fine.
Yeah. But there will be a fun little thing. Just a little thing for the M6 on Thursday when we play. So just
There
a little
might
fun,
be
like,
a little
belated
something for you
N7
guys
thing.
here too.
Wrong one, okay? Wrong show.
So,
The one with Spock?
bold of
Space
you
Jelly.
to assume that's going to stop me from making a reference.
Space Jelly.
Suddenly the audience is up in arms.
Right.
Watching the riots being tilted.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much. So just a small little announcement. We are having Mass Effect again this Thursday. That way we can get back on the schedule we're supposed to do of every other week with Tricorn. So after this Thursday, next Thursday will be Tricorn, and then alternate, so on and so forth. However, the 23rd, which was supposed to be Mass Effect, we are not having a game that day because in America it is Thanksgiving. So since that is a
That's
holiday,
when Thanksgiving is.
and I don't care who you are, we're gonna eat. So no game. No
We're
game.
gonna be Izzy stuffing our faces, and we're gonna eat so much turkey it's gonna cause us to go catatonic.
It's a day of
And pie.
It's
Don't
not a
forget
day
pie.
of things. It's a day of engorging ourselves, wearing sweatpants while watching football. At least that's in my household.
I can do
That's
that.
in my household.
Sleeping
That's
in
a
and
day.
eating.
So what I'm hearing is I don't
Be
have a
on the
choice.
computer.
I'm watching football. Get it.
You have no
Yes.
choice
Yeah, it's,
because our favorite team always plays on Thanksgiving, regardless. They
Mhm.
always play on Thanksgiving. And
Just to be clear,
yeah.
you're watching the U.S. football.
Oh yes, I
Yes.
knew what you meant. I've been recruited by
Yes.
Force. You're fine.
Yeah.
I already
No.
have my jersey and everything.
There's also,
he's
war
roped in.
preparations for Black Friday, but other than that,
Yeah.
I online shop for that because there's
Cyber
I'm not going to
Monday,
the
yeah.
store.
yeah,
Mhm.
Cyber Monday. Yeah. Plus they do Black Friday the whole month of November practically now, or at least like 2-3 weeks leading
Yeah.
up to it. So who
I don't
cares
want to
anymore?
deal with the people. It's too people-y.
This is why I deal with digital people.
Yeah. I mean, local
not
game
true.
stores are worth going into, but yeah.
That's true. Very
Not
true.
when they're attached to a mall.
Not that I'm not talking like mall game stores, like hometown game stores.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. So yeah, just want to let you know about that. We do have Withered Wastes this Saturday. And again, Sonata is in the works. The goal is December or January, but again, we don't know. So we figured January. Actually, no, I think we did decide that January might be easier because between our shows, our newer shows, and alternating this month, and then having our Christmas one shot next month, we figured after the first of the year might be the easiest. So again, TD, not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure we settled January, February. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. I kind of know what happened. Unfortunately, due to my crazy ass schedule up until literally just a few days ago, I've not been able to catch up except for snippets here and there I've been able to catch. So
I'll
a
give
recap of what
everybody
happened
a
would be
little recap.
great.
Yeah, I'll give a
Yeah,
little
let's see,
recap
Master.
regardless anyway, since it's been a good two sessions. We've
Couple
missed
weeks.
almost a month.
18 years.
No,
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've
TOTOR, so
skipped one session so far. Calm down.
it's been
18 years.
Exactly.
It's been
Exactly.
84 years.
I don't even have to say it.
It's been
We
84
love the meme.
years.
We all love
Yep.
it.
So, here's the deal, guys. The last two sessions happened on a shipyard for Corellia drives in orbit around the same named planet here. The whole purpose of that little pit stop on our way to the core worlds was getting the ship's registration changed because, I mean, it was a Night Sister ship that we kind of stole. So we had that 2 little extra episodes, rubbing elbows with the criminal underground of Corellia. Until eventually, yes, indeed, we did get this the ship here re-registered to the very edgy name of Second Shadow, I believe it was, that you guys called it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Second Shadow. And so, the Second Shadow took off from the drive yards, on its way this time finally to the actual destination you guys had picked, which was Tython. And the whole point of Tython here is for you guys to investigate as much as you can about the Sun Saber, sorry. The Sun Saber at the actual Tython library, right? Which apparently the archives they have there are quite expansive. And you guys have decided that's where you're going to go.
I mean, have you seen the Tython library?
Oh, yes.
It's actually one of the largest libraries.
Oh,
That's
yes.
not ancient or crumbled.
Correct.
So, yes.
Or burned.
It's right
Or
up
burned.
there.
Yeah.
So here we're gonna. So if you guys check the map real quick, you'll see that Tython is really straight smack down the middle in the core worlds, not far from Coruscant actually. So again, considering it was deep in Republic space, maybe having your ship not be flagged as an enemy ship on the way in might have been the smart move. And you'll see Corellia
We need
is
to get
just
you
to
a
the.
token, hun. We need to get you one of those markers so not all of our faces are on it.
Oh, I just
Makes it
that's
easier.
Yeah, it's
We is here.
We is here.
Yeah, and
We're
if you
in
look,
this general area.
and if you look bottom right of it, you'll see Corellia's right there too. So that's where we made a little pit stop on the way in. Considering Tatooine is in the northern part, we kind of overshot Tython, went to Corellia, and then backtracked. But considering that's the closest proper, shipyard, and the closest one to Coruscant right now, that's where you guys went. So, that being said, the next, stop is indeed Tython right there, as you can see, right in the center of the map. Few things. Before we pull out of hyperspace here and enter Tython's space, there's a few things that happened last session too that were worthy of notice here. Orta went off and solved their problem on his own, we'll call it that, bumping into the very much dead body of the target that the Hutt wanted them to kill, so somebody got to them first.
I would leave it at that.
And it was quite gruesome. Davi found a shoulder to lean on in Brick, who had also lost his brother. So they had a little bit of social time together. And our dear International Rabbit was doing International Rabbit things here, where he was basically counting money and giving everybody else crap for well, not really, but yes. So long story short, everybody's kind of doing their own thing on the ship. We had turned everybody over for the quote-unquote night long rest. And once again, you guys are going to be most probably awoken feeling the familiar tug in your belly button of the ship exiting hyperspace, almost like your body wants to keep going, but something pulls you back to reality. And it's always a little jarring, and for those of you who don't sleep too deep, yes, Mibble, we know you haven't had 14 buckets of coffee yet, so you're still asleep, but everybody else...
Terrible 11.
There you go. So everybody else who isn't a caffeine-addicted rabbit, provided you're, not stuck in deep sleep here, you'll feel that pull from the ship leaving hyperspace here. Davi, remind me, had you passed out in Brick's room, or was it Brick who passed out in your room?
No, we were in Brick's room after
You were
having
in
a few
Brick's
drinks
room.
after our nightmares.
That's what it was. Yes.
Then
correct.
Then
And
there
for
was the walk
some
of
reason, we
shame.
all walked out of the room at the same time. Goddamn force.
There was a disturbance.
In the
Force
force.
was like, oh my god, look at this.
The force was like, girl, you gotta get out here and see
Something
this.
hinky's going on. Everyone, get out now.
We do have a running gag with some of my other Star Wars 5e friends that the Force is a magic 8-ball. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Shake the magic 8-ball, guys. Leave the room. Everybody leaves at the same time.
Alright.
Perfect timing. All right. So that being said, yes, you guys had adjusted for that, and then the ship again will tug, at your consciousness a little bit as you exit the hyperspace here back into real space. Yeah. Mibble just turns around, slaps his alarm clock, even though it didn't go off.
Force of habit.
Routine.
Force of habit.
Yeah, I see what you did there, Orta. But yes, so at that point, right, everybody else will indeed at this point show off into or show up as it is morning time here. What do you guys want to do as you wake up? Is there anything you guys want to do before you head to the bridge, or is it everybody kind of straight going to the bridge, or what's going on here?
5 more minutes, then coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I'm finishing my morning routine.
Okay, so meditating, etc.
Etc.
Morning
etc.
routine.
See what
I
the
need
magic
to
8-ball has
slip
to
back
say.
into my room and actually, get dressed for the day.
Okay.
Be out in my PJs.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
After the walk of shame.
Mm-hmm. And Zuri,
Yes.
I mean, while everybody was off, getting the ship's registration fixed and everything, that took us about a day and a half, considering everything that happened and everything. What was Zuri doing that whole time? If at all?
I don't know. How long were you guys gone for?
About a day and a half.
Due to
How would she have
recent
occupied her time?
events, she probably would have taken care of Garm because of the recent events,
He did lose an arm.
and then do some study to see what she could find maybe on her own without going to the library about the blade and everything and its other half, as it were. And yeah, probably just spend some time doing that since it's only been like a day. So between that and meditating, and trying to figure out and kind of recall any information she may have about that. Yeah.
So,
She's doing nerd stuff.
yeah, which again, completely valid considering, everybody here got kind of uprooted from their usual routine / planet. So at that point, it's been that extra day. And so yes, you'll also be waking up, I'm assuming, as the ship exits hyperspace.
Yes. Yeah.
That subtle change in vibrations of the ship's engine core enough to kind of wake you up.
Yeah. Pretty
Mhm.
much.
Okay. What do you do once you've woken up?
Oh,
You headed to the bridge? Or are you going to go visit one of your friends or
yeah.
colleagues or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know who to visit really. I'll probably just go to, well, since everyone kind of came out at the same time, she'll just be like, "So how'd it go getting our ship registered?"
We are now aboard the Second Shadow.
Oh, I do like that name. Was it hard getting the registration done?
Yes.
Or,
Yes, it
Oh.
was.
or just like, you have no idea the pain I went through.
And the sight I saw.
Sorry to hear that. Well, I see everyone is uninjured, so I'm assuming we have nothing to worry about? Maybe?
Maybe.
Hopefully?
Hopefully. Yes, hopefully.
I don't know how reassuring that is, but I suppose I'll have to take it.
I can't reassure you anymore. There's not much else to say.
Fair enough. Well, with that being said, are there any more stops that we need to make?
Not that I'm aware of.
As you ask Orta that question, you guys will hear over the ship's PA system Garm's voice saying, "Students and fellow X Academy employees, we are currently approaching Tython. If you all would be so kind as to meet me on the bridge and, you know, answer. Sorry, if you'd be so kind as to meet me on the bridge and, keep your arms and legs inside the ride until it's come to a full stop."
Middle groans. But
Yeah.
eventually gets up and gets his coffee.
Hard eye roll at the poor joke that he just made.
Look, Garm has the sense of humor of an old leather shoe.
Yes.
Hence the eye roll.
Yes.
I'm just saying, don't expect much out of him. That being said, yes. Once you guys do make it to the ship's bridge, right, command room, you hear the familiar hum again of the engines, the usual blinking lights, and so on and so forth. You can see that Garm's already taken the liberty of clearing you guys with Tython's airspace control. And from what you guys can tell of the, blinking lights and navigational system, the ship's already been slaved to that air traffic control's autopilot, system, as the ship is being brought into berth. Thankfully enough, he actually managed to land you guys, or to get you guys a landing pad at the actual Tython Academy. So the good news about that one is you don't have to go through the whole Tython space station and then get a shuttle and then get yourself down to the temple. You guys were given priority berthing at the temple itself. So it's a few more minutes of going through the atmosphere and the ship lurching a little bit, but funny enough, as you guys are going down, it also gives you the opportunity to see the world of Tython through the viewports or through any form of display or camera that you guys would activate on the consoles. And Tython is one heck of a beautiful planet. For those of you who haven't seen it or might not remember it and have played the games, it's the starting planet for the Jedi Counselors. It's also, I believe, and this I might actually be wrong, so I'll double check it after, but I also believe it might be the planet that Luke had exiled himself on. Yes, exactly. So that's that same planet that in the movies you see Rey finds Luke, on that mountain there, in the middle of the water. That's also part of Tython.
Lots of
It
forest and water. It's very pretty.
It shows up in comics as well. It has a north and a south pole that are actually made of ice and snow. As it does show in some of the comics, Darth Vader visits it at one point. It's also, if memory serves, Yeah, it's also a planet that you actually see in The Mandalorian. The one where Grogu meditates on top of a little stone, on top of a half dome shaped stone. I don't know if that rings a bells for any of you guys.
Spoiler.
No, that's from like the first season. But yeah,
From
all that to
season
say,
2, but yes.
yeah, well, all that to say again, I didn't really describe all that much what happens in there, so I will not go any further. But that being said, yes. Long story short, it's a planet that's seeped in history. A lot of people have been there a lot of times, and there's a lot of different locales, whether it be, mountain ranges, those islands in the middle of the ocean, like I said, the North and Southern Pole, and so on and so forth. But the Academy itself is nestled more in the mountainous areas. And it's beautiful mountains. You've got trees, lush forests. You've got this beautiful waterfall running through the Jedi grounds. You have very temperate, happy, gentle breeze type weather. Once again, you can feel this place is seeped in Force energies, and mostly the light side of the Force, if you had to describe it and quantify it in that sense. So long story short, yeah, you guys are going to see all that out the viewport, as the ship descends upon the planet. And next thing you know, you guys make it to the Academy's landing pads, I guess you could say. And the ship does come down upon said landing pad with a slight thunk and the hiss of hydraulics and pressure being relieved from the system as the engines power down, the shields power down, and the access ramp, hisses open. So, welcome to Tython, young Jedis. We are off to find the information that we wanted to find about the Sunsaber. So, do you guys want to head straight for the Academy? Do you guys want to go explore a little bit first? What are you guys going to do the moment you head out of that ship?
Nibble's gonna more or less relax a little bit and hope nobody notices who he is because he doesn't want to do any extra work.
Right. You're still technically employed by the Jedi Order. Oh no. There's maintenance here. No.
Pretty much.
Okay. So, Zuri, Orta, Davi, do you guys group up before exiting? You kind of go off and do your own thing? What do you guys do right now?
We need to get to a library.
The library.
The library. Correct.
Well,
I want to go back to a library. Dear God, I need normalcy. So I'd be heading there immediately.
Okay.
I'd be looking to Zuri because this is kind of her stomping grounds, and
well,
probably
first
feeling a little
things-
out of place myself.
First things first, we need to go to the temple and make ourselves known. And I imagine we'd be staying here for a certain amount of time see if we can find some lodgings and whatnot provided for us through the Academy, and then take our time through the library. There are plenty of librarians already there, so I'm sure they could help direct us into the part of the library we may need for some information. If not, know where it is at all.
So, as you guys exit the ship, getting yourselves known won't take too long. As you can see, there's already a bunch of droids that are kind of rushing the ship, to plug it in, to refuel it and everything. As clearly here, Garm has taken the liberty of giving your identity to the air traffic control, and the Academy has recognized you guys as some of the refugees, quote unquote, from the Dantooine massacre. As you guys do exit, you'll see that yes, there's a little path kind of leaving the landing pad towards the Academy, and following, you'll see on both sides of that path students that are practicing, some with those little floaty droids that have low-powered lasers that they're trying to block while wearing face guards. Others that are sparring using basically what looks like those kendo shinais, those bamboo swords, but they're basically equipped with a repulsor field, so they're basically hitting each other with force fields. You'll see all sorts of other ones that are like sitting cross-legged on stones, just kind of levitating while they're meditating a little bit, trying to make other things float around them. And some are just running and just doing basic physical conditioning here. But you see all sorts of students going through the motions of the different stages, I guess, if you will. Exactly, of being a Padawan and working towards knighthood. Zuri, if you've ever studied here, this is all very familiar to you, and you know that a little further up the path, there usually is a reception area at the base of the temple where there's a reception droid that can probably assign you guys some rooms for the duration of your stay here, and probably book you an appointment with the master of the academy, or of the temple, should I say?
Well, first things first, they want to go to the temple and pay her respects, as well as find out if certain members are present.
Okay.
Not expecting much, but, still wanted to take a peek.
Or tag along with Zuri, because I also need to speak with someone at the temple to find out about the proper burial rites for my sister. Can't leave her
Also,
body
yep.
just sitting in the med bay forever.
No, definitely not the best of.
She's been on cryo, right? So she doesn't
Yeah.
stink up the okay.
Yes, she has been.
I don't know if we kept her on properly preserved.
Not to make it
yes.
sound gross, but I mean, realistically.
Thank you.
3 day later body, no good. But yes, no, you guys kept her
All
preserved.
bloated and gassy.
No thank you. I don't need that mental image. All right.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. So, that being said, yes, you'll arrive and make yourself known at this point. Then at the like I said, the reception droid, which he'll look at you guys, kind of scanning you all real quick, and it doesn't take him long to go, "Oh, welcome to the Tython Academy. It's a pleasure to see you've made it out alive." And in the typical, trying to be nice but kind of falling short way that protocols droid tend to have, he kind of looks at you all and he says, this was quite the horrendous tragedy, and I'm very glad to see you all managed to get out of there alive.
Not all of us.
Like I said, in the typical way of a droid, trying to be nice but falling just short.
Right.
Yeah. And so, he'll again look at you all and say, am I correct in assuming that you are all looking for accommodations for the duration of your stay here?
Yeah, I guess.
Very well. He has a little bit of that pinched tone that protocol droids tend to have as he answers you, and he takes him maybe a second and a half to look through a few things, most probably inside his own databanks, actually, as he'll eventually look at you and say, okay, well, thankfully we have a few contiguous rooms, or adjacent, should I say, rooms, on the 3rd floor. They're basically 301, 302, and 303. Yours to use for the duration of your stay. Shall I inform the master of the temple that you are all arrived, and will you be seeking an audience?
Yes, that would be perfect, actually.
Very well. I've also added your IDs to the temple databases. As such, any location that is currently available to both Padawans and Knights will be accessible to you and your party.
Appreciate it.
Obliged. Can I talk to droids with telepathy?
Not really, eh?
I don't think so.
They don't
No.
have minds, so
They
Yeah.
don't do psychic stuff, so no, most probably not really.
Yeah, so Orto would just give a small bow.
There you go. So yeah, that being said, at that point, you're all basically dismissed. As you can see, he returns to his previously assigned duties, and you're kind of left standing there, given free reign of the temple. As my question to you is, where would you like to go next?
Are we heading to the library while we wait for an audience?
Still headed for the library. Is good. So,
Oh, I was asking the group. I didn't know what they
Oh.
wanted to do.
Oh,
I mean, I thought Ortho said he was beelining for the library first chance he
I would
got.
go. Yeah, I'll go through the obvious, protocols to like do so. But yeah,
And Mibble, are you just following the group, or are you doing something else right now?
Mibble will probably just like meander around, maybe find the cafeteria, get some food. And
So as you get to,
then probably see if he could find some places to see if he could get some upgradable parts or something.
so as
Cool.
you are at the cafeteria, you can see that there's a few other species, aliens, I guess, that are themselves having food, and you can kind of overhear the conversation, and you this instantly is familiar territory to you, as they seem to be part of this temple's maintenance crew, janitors, whatever you want to call them, and you recognize the tone of voice. You instantly know this is the typical shit talking of those who have to keep this place working and running in one piece, while
Basically what
the
he
Jedis do
does.
stupid stuff.
my people.
Huh?
Basically what he does.
Yes, you're like, oh, I hear the song of my people. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, you would at this point, like you said, like I said, recognize the song of your people here, and you are now in front of, like I said, these guys that are talking about this stuff.
I just continue on my way to get some food.
Okay. So you do manage to find food that is to your liking. Thankfully, they do cater to all sorts of different species and tastes, so you're able to find something that you can eat.
A good bit of veggies.
Yeah, that isn't exactly sop or rations or whatever, that are actually like crunchy veggies and fresh produce. Nothing's too good for the Jedi, right? Thankfully, the cafeteria is open to everyone. And it's buffet style, so it's a standard rate no matter what. I'm assuming you load up on the food, knowing
Yep.
Mibble. And once you have your food, where do you go sit? Do you kind of sit on your own? Do you try to join with the others? What do you do?
He'll probably find a secluded area where he can sit and just be left to his own devices.
Okay.
In the meantime, I'll also try to look up some things.
Okay. Like what?
I think he was looking up on studying on something. I forget what it was. I gotta look, see here. Right.
But yes, you'll spend that time reading up on that subject of interest of yours. Okay.
Here we go. Sleight of hand.
Ah. So yes, you'll read a little bit of the theory of how to be a great pickpocket.
Mhm. Well, do better work with his hands.
There you go. That being said, as for Orta, Davi, and Zuri, I'm assuming you said you guys were all going to the library, correct?
When the
In
others
while you were waiting for.
yes.
when they confirm that they're going to the library, Davi would be like, "I'm just going to grab my things and take them to the rooms, and I'll meet you guys there."
There you go.
That's fine.
Okay. Very good. So Davi splits off on her own while the other two go to the library. When you get to the archives, when you get to that library, thankfully your ID again, the droid having pre-uploaded it into the system, you guys are let into the archives without too many headaches. At least as far as the regular part of the archives. The sensitive section that's kind of, the domain of the masters still remains closed to you, but at the very least you're able to access, all the general information that you would be looking for. There is a Jedi librarian here. She's currently in the process of organizing, probably some of the material and putting it back on the shelves. Some of those holo, some of those data shards back into place. Davi, in the meantime, are you just moving your stuff into the room, or are you doing anything else?
On my way to move my stuff, I will stop by the med bay.
Yep.
And collect my item that I have stashed there.
Yep. Very good.
And take that with me because I'm going to find a new stash spot for it. But
Okay.
my other stash spot's going to be taken care of.
So you're taking it off the ship, to be clear.
Yes, currently.
Okay. Very good.
I'm trying to find some place to stash it in whatever room I'm going to be staying in.
As you're
Not too close to the bed.
As you're walking towards that room, you'll get the odd stare from the more sensitive students. As that definitely, like, just the aura off that thing, the force aura off that thing definitely triggers some questionable looks in your direction. That being said, for the other two, now that you've made it to the library, what do you choose to do? Or the archives, should I say?
I'll let Orta go first since he was so enthusiastic.
I mean, I have been told what we're hunting for, so I'd probably just start searching through the library.
Okay.
And if this place were somehow poorly organized, I would organize it.
So
but I don't imagine it is.
You saw that the librarian was in the middle of putting some of the data shards back on the shelves, so
I would help with that, and whilst trying to find Sunsaber and stuff.
okay, so you're looking for that, and unfortunately, as you're looking around for any reference to the Sunsaber, there doesn't seem to be any, at least not here. Are the archives incomplete?
I mean, yeah. If I don't find anything, I'll keep helping the librarian out.
Okay.
If he's
Is there-
willing to let me, basically.
Mm.
He or she is willing to let me.
No, she'll definitely appreciate the help as you're helping her.
Mhm.
And she'll
I'm
say,
not- Mhm. I'm not
she'll
quite-
look at you and she'll say, "Oh, a new arrival to the temple."
Yes. We are coming from. I'm coming from Dantooine, and well, I was a part. I helped take care of the library there, so I thought I'd offer my hands here as well.
So when you say that, you can see her face like immediately softens as she's quite aware of the tragedy of Dantooine at this point. It's kind of made the rounds. And she'll, like I said, she'll very softly smile at Orta. And while there isn't much work left to be done, and she could have very easily taken care of it on her own, she'll look at Orta and say, "Well, I still have all these shards that definitely need to find their proper place back in the shelves. If you're so kind as to help me with that, I really would appreciate it. It would give me a little bit of time to do other things."
Of course. Also, is there anything on more? Where would I find information on more, I guess, Jedi myth, for lack of a better term?
She looks at you, tilts her head to the side, and can you give me a persuasion check?
Oh no. Well, that's not bad. Persuasion? 18.
Actually pretty good. So she'll smile at you and she'll say, "Well, unfortunately, that's not quite how we've classified things here. And if you were looking for something in particular, I'm sure our database would have answered your search query. Anything that is classified as sensitive information that is only accessible to the masters, however, will not show up on that database as it's stored in," and she'll point to the quote unquote, masters only section of the archives, if you want to call it that.
Oh, the fun section of the movie store that's behind the curtains. Got it.
Kind of, yes. The forbidden section of the forbidden section of the Hogwarts library, if you will. And she'll basically she'll basically say, you know, well, this is the only other place that might have the information at this point, but unfortunately, and she'll look at all of you, at you two, and go, I don't think either of you are masters.
Understood. Thank you for the guidance.
My pleasure.
Technically, I am.
No, it's really masters. It's not knights or padawans.
Oh, not master. Sorry.
You got it.
Oh, do you know who I am?
I am.
know who I am.
Zuri pulling the streamer. Do you know who I am?
No, I'm just.
No,
trying to
I'm more
remember this.
picturing Ash in her gosh dang silks.
Right.
Look,
I am the
she wanted her freaking silks. She was gonna lie to get it. Okay. She did
I
not
am the
do
captain.
it. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain.
I am the master.
We'll have to come back with Garm then.
She will look at the librarian and go, so you wouldn't happen to know anything about these blades, or perhaps anything that is similar, or from that time even?
Which blades?
It's the sun blade, and what was the other one?
The Sun Saber and the Angst Saber. No, that's not right.
Sun
No, the Soul
and
Saber,
Angst
but close enough.
Soul saber.
Soul Saber.
Angst saber. Soul saber.
The Edge Saber, yes.
I mean,
Honestly,
same difference.
I mean, yeah.
You gotta be careful, it could be the Dark Saber, then you're getting them all confused at that point. You have to be
Yeah.
careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes. Angst jokes aside. At this point, you do see her brows kind of frown a little bit as she very quickly looks around her. Clearly all of a sudden unsettled by the name that you just mentioned here when you mentioned the Sun Saber. And she's going to look at you and say, pray tell, young one, where have you heard that word?
We may have come across it recently and would like to know more about it.
Which
I'll-
one of the
I'll
two? For I
telepath
doubt
it.
you've crossed paths with the Sun Saber.
No, unfortunately not.
Ah, so it's a Soul Saber you've bumped into.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Unfortunately.
Well, they're cruel tools of the dark side, I can tell you that much.
Yes.
And you can see that she's reluctant to really tell you guys more about them.
Tell me where they are.
Well, it's not just that, it's
No,
also
I know,
like
I know.
she has this, how do I put it? Discomfort. More like, you know, I don't want to tell this to a student and then have them try to build one and cause a shitstorm. So she kind of looks at you and she says, they are tools of the dark side, and yes, you will not find reference to them in the normal section of literature here.
Indeed, but was also wondering if the Sun Saber could be found in this section.
Again, I don't know where you heard that name, but even in myth, any reference to it is quite rare. I'm afraid there's not many a person here who can help you with that subject, and you can see again she's being tight-lipped about it.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
We'll probably just have to come back with Garm later.
Oh, waiting for the meeting with the council. So
Yeah.
Do you mention Garm out loud here when you say we're gonna have to wait for Garm later?
Oh, I have telepathy. I'm just saying it directly to Zuri.
Okay, so it's not AoE, it's directed. Okay.
oh, that asshole! No, even more so. No, that guy.
Right. Okay. So you're currently talking with her and everything when your personal comm link beeps and you notice that it's Garm on the line. He
Yes.
yep, he kind of like mumbles something a little bit, almost like he's holding the comm link too far before bringing it a little closer. This is here. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Very good. I've gotten a message from the head of the academy. She's actually in right now, and the meeting's been bumped up. If you are all able to come on over to the audience chamber, I think they're ready for us now, or soon enough anyway.
Is Mibble getting this call too?
Yep.
Just leave the water cooler.
Right.
So he finishes up his meal and study, and starts making his way to wherever he needs to go. How much did he study on the sleight of hand?
I'll give you an extra 2 hours.
Did Davi have time to try and find probably a loose floorboard or someplace where she could stash her stuff?
So
While they were in the library?
I mean, I don't know if the library is the easiest place to
Oh no, in the room.
Yeah. Oh, in the room you do. You do manage to find a stone that's a little looser than the others. You can kind of like pry it out and kind of stash your stuff in the wall, and then just kind of refill the hole with the loose stone.
Alright, so she'll do that before heading.
Yep.
And she won't actually, when she goes to put in there, she has it all bundled up. She didn't have it just like loosely. She bundled it up in some sort of probably a pillowcase wrapped around it several times. And stick it in there. And even while she's doing this, she has this momentary of, I probably shouldn't be doing this, but she almost feels like she's in too deep at this point to turn back.
Right.
So she does, and then hoping that at least doesn't affect the other students, she goes along her way.
Very good. So, at this point, I guess you would have received that message even before making it back to the library, right? And most probably diverted your route to the audience chamber as well, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you'll all arrive at the audience chamber, and you see people rushing in and out. There's actually quite a few people just kind of like peeking around, like the occasional like room or door or hallway or whatever, kind of looking at you guys like, oh my god, I don't know. You know, you hear all that like whispering and hush hush, buzz of conversation that usually follows with, that usually follows people showing up after great news have arrived to the temple. Not enough that, because they're still Jedi, they're fairly well disciplined, but you can still tell from the occasional, like I said, hushed conversation you overhear in passing, or discreet and not so discreet glances being thrown at you or at the party's direction, as Garm and the rest of you kind of walk in, and oddly enough, you see that a lot of those reproachful, I guess you could say, glances are being shot at Garm. And yeah, you can see that his presence here, it's not very well appreciated or very well received.
Would Zuri know why?
If they've talked about their past, then yes, she would. He left here on bad terms, we'll say, with the leader of the academy, of the temple.
Yeah, Mibble just sort of like quickly moves his eyes back and forth. It's like, what's going on?
Right. But yeah, Zuri, you would know that, he had a major disagreement over policy with the leader of the temple here.
Okay.
Specifically concerning one of his old students, his ex-students.
Okay.
That being said, yes, you guys arrive at the audience chamber, and the vibe is very weird because it almost feels like yes, it's an audience, but how do I put this? It's that same vibe you got when Anakin walked in and they were like, yes, we'll grant you a seat on the council, but we're not giving you the rank of master. It's that same, like, we're doing this because we have to, but we don't like you vibe, if that makes sense. And you can see that most of the seats that would normally be occupied by the masters are actually currently empty. And only one really right now is occupied by a how do I describe her? She's well, there's no two ways of describing her. She's a very, very good-looking woman, beautiful, gorgeous woman with long brown hair, tied up, in a braid behind her head. Her features are actually quite familiar to you all. Can you all give me real quick? Let's see here. I'm gonna need a little roll from you guys. Let's see. Can you all please give me real quick a lore roll, please? Yeah. As you can't quite put where you've seen that face before.
15.
19.
11.
Okay.
I got an 11.
Mm-hmm.
Zuri don't know shit. That's the I don't know shit face.
That's the I don't know shit face indeed.
I just go, wow, it's good to be back here. Distracted.
We rolled a 1 again on the first roll.
I didn't roll
of
a
the
1, but I might as well have.
It was a 2 then.
That's a 2.
4.
On the
Okay.
first roll of the episode. Okay.
Single digit, that's all that matters.
Exactly. So for those of you, so Orta, you're well versed, having hung out in the libraries all the time and looked at a lot of the Hollow recordings, and I mean, Davi, you probably just paid a lot more attention to this than most, but at the end of the day, you're both able to figure out that this woman you're looking at, while you don't necessarily know their first name, you can tell they're part of the Shan lineage.
Bibble just doesn't care that much.
Middle humans all look the same to you, peas in a pods. No F's given. She's just another one in a long list of people telling you what to do in your life.
Pretty much.
So
but for the...
I totally know this, but for the purpose of our audience, what's the
Yes.
Shan lineage?
Yes, I'm about to get to that. You guys kind of...
Yes, for the audience.
Totally
we'll
know,
get there
but
for
everyone
those
else.
who listen.
Yes.
What
Yes.
is it?
So
For the ignorant masses.
for the
Not me.
for the less hardcore nerds, for the filthy casuals in the audience. No, I'm kidding. No, for those who are not aware, the Shan lineage is very present in all of the Knight of the Old Republic games, and since we're just tail end of the Old Republic era, it's very much within the context of those games. The Shan lineage, so the first person you would know potentially of the Shan lineage is Bastila, who was one of Revan's companions from the first Knights of the Old Republic game, and canonically the mother of his children. In the Old Republic games, Satili Shan is basically one of the leaders of the Jedi Order at this point. This is probably one of their descendants, potentially actually a descendant of Theron and the player character from the Old Republic.
Theron is her son.
Yes, correct. And so, again, this is probably one more generation after that type deal. As she kind of looks at you all, and very formally addresses you and says, "Welcome to the Tython Temple. We heard the horrible news of what happened at the Dadooine Academy, and we are quite distraught to have heard that there had been so much death. Please, come on in and make yourselves comfortable." And you guys notice there's an extra set of, not master's seats, but extra seats that have been brought into the room. As she kind of motions to a droid and has the droid bring in, basic refreshments and basic snacks.
Nibble tries
The
to
way she-
pocket some of the snacks.
Yeah, right. The way she does it, though, it's very. I'm following protocol. It's not. There's no warmth in her voice or in how she's talking to you. It's just, I'm a Jedi and I'm doing what I have to do type beat type vibe you're getting off of her right now. And you can even almost like visibly see her bristle when she quickly looks at Garm before she looks back at you guys.
I do bow in respect because I know of this woman at least. I know if she's
Mm-hmm.
she's
Well,
a legend among Jedi as far as like her bouts in war and whatnot. I mean, I
Well,
know
this
her
is not-
personally, but I know of her.
This is not Satili herself. This is her granddaughter.
Oh, gotcha. Props.
Basically, Theron's kid. Potentially with the player character from the Old Republic.
Well, there goes my backup character story idea. All right.
I said
See, do not
potentially.
steal.
Doesn't
But
mean she
yes.
can't have more than one grandkid.
No, he knows of the.
How maybe she has a sister or brother, for all you know, right? But that being said, yes, she'll look at you all and say, "Well, if you don't mind me being blunt, what brings you to this academy?" And at first, she's looking at Garm, who just smirks and slowly shakes his head before he kind of chin points at the young ones that he's brought along with him, indicating
Nibble
that he's
sort
going to
of
let
does
them
like the
speak for
sidestep
themselves.
away from the others.
Right?
Yes.
Well,
We are here seeking information about some very old blades. The Sun Saber and Soul Saber.
so when you mention those, you can see her visibly bristle even more, and she gives Garm like a pissed off look.
As soon as she sees that, she's like, we encountered it at a temple that massacred many Jedi inside. Wielding it was a Sith. What we think is a Sith.
Sister or something like that.
She
My
had
sister.
a mark. Yes.
Mhm.
She had a mark on her that we recognized as a Night Sister, wielding this Soul Saber blade.
So you see her kind of narrow her eyes a little bit as she looks at you and she says, but, well, a few things. While yes, versed in the dark side and actually a side of the dark side that is quite terrifying, to my knowledge, Nice Sister more often than not are not actual Sith. Furthermore, you say she wielded a soul saber, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Purple, dreadful looking thing, yes?
Yes.
She kind of looks at you guys and she says, and you escaped how? Not that I doubt your abilities, but a Night Sister in the full bloom of her powers, along with the Soul Saber, should have been... Well, I'm surprised anybody made it off that planet at all.
He was, for lack of a better term, almost toying with us, it seemed. Until we were able to break the Soul Saber from her grasp.
Long enough to retreat until we get more information.
Wait, she opens her eyes wide as you say you've broken the Soul Saber from her grasp, right? And she looks at you and she says, do you mean you've managed to deprive her of it?
A hefty price.
Half yes and no, I possibly think.
She blinks a few more times. And she says,
It's at least long enough to get away.
Yes. Long enough to get away.
is it here?
It should be in the safe that we have on our ship right now.
Yes.
She looks at Garm and like let me put it to you this way. If she had looked like pissed about him being here earlier, now she looked positively furious.
What did you bring to my house?
Kind of. And she kind of looks at Garm and narrows her eyes, and with as much controlled venom as she can in her voice without sounding like she's being totally angry at him, she asks him, and pray tell, Master Garm, and there's that weird emphasis on master that makes you almost realize that she's kind of using the word more as an insult than anything else right now, like, you're a master, you should have known better, how dare you. And she asks him, Master Garm, what possibly could have possessed you to not just simply jettison such a hateful artifact into the nearest sun? And to that, Garm looks a little, I guess you could say contrived. He even looks at you guys, and for a minute you kind of realize that, like, he has that moment of, oh shit, why didn't we just chuck that thing into the nearby sun? You know what I mean? It's almost like if that thing is like the One Ring. You know, it's like, no, you will not kill me. Keep me, steady me. Do not throw me into a sun. But jokes aside, yeah, it's almost like he's wondering, like, why? Yeah, like, why didn't we chuck it into the sun? And it takes him a few seconds to kind of like cook something up as an answer before he kind of bows back at her and says, well, Master Sean, the price of us acquiring that soul saber from the Sith was, and he kind of gestures at Davi and he says, was Davi here's twin sister, whom died heroically to allow us to deprive what I can only describe as a genocidal maniac from their weapon. Of course, we will, defer to the authority of the council here, but we wanted to know if indeed we should destroy it, or if this was something that the, temple and the Jedi at large would want to study prior to its destruction. And when he says that, you can see her like ponder for a sec, but the dice said no. And she kind of looks at him and she goes, Master Garm, do not attempt to placate me with protocol here. Such a dangerous artifact. Well, bringing this on Tython is like lighting a beacon for anybody interested in such a myth and such a dangerous weapon. We'll talk about that subject later. She looks back at the young ones and she says, well, I don't know what possesses you to even look for such an ancient relic as the Sun Saber, but that weapon is... She looks around again. Well, first of all, it's a myth, and second, I'm even surprised that you've heard of it at all. Who mentioned this to you?
Mibble sort of just slowly puts his gaze onto Gum.
On the Garm?
Yeah.
If it is
Garb.
if it is a myth, then wouldn't the soul saber also be a myth?
She shakes her head. The soul sabers were a much more recent creation. The sun saber is, well, she kind of tilts her head, different.
Different how?
She smiles. Well, this much I can tell you without it hurting. It's an old lightsaber, and I mean ancient in the sense of probably one of the first ever crafted. I don't know if you know this, but old Jedi, she says, did not use lightsabers. Originally, we simply used swords. Blades, if you will. Yes, and no doubt infused with the Force, but the technical wonder that is the lightsaber happened much later after the birth of the Jedi Order. And as such, well, this would be one of, well, I wouldn't call it a prototype, but one of the first quote-unquote production model lightsabers, if you want to call it that.
Interesting.
And if there ever was a weapon capable of representing the light side and the purity of the Order before all of its trial and tribulations at the hand of the Sith, well, this would most probably be that weapon.
Interesting.
Can you all roll me an insight check, please, real quick?
Insight, you say?
Yes. Lens flare.
26.
21.
18.
And I will say, well, she's getting upset at us for even having the saber and kind of just brushing over everything we did to get away. Davi probably is just standing there. She's not fully, like, fist clenched, but her hands are definitely closed, and she's got a carefully blank look on her face.
Of course.
Also, mentioning that it should be in the safe on the ship.
No, she didn't really react to that one too much. It was just more of the complete dismissal of everything we did to get here, and her reaction to, hey, we have it, and then she's like, well, you should have thrown it in the sun. Why'd you even bother? And just kind of laying into Grom.
Garm, but yes.
Or Garm, yes. I keep mixing them up. Too many
okay,
G's!
Navi. It's okay, Navi. So that being said... it never gets old.
No.
But yes, that being said, yes, you can tell that he's what's the word? He's looking a little bit on the contrite side, but if Davi looks in his direction, he'll kind of look back at her, and he'll give her the smallest of no movements, with his head, shake his head ever so slightly, saying no. He doesn't mouth anything or say anything, but there's definitely like a, just let it slide for now type gesture, Everybody here who rolled above a 20, as this is a Jedi Master trying to have a poker face, you can tell that there's a lot more to the legend of the Sun Saber and the Soul Saber that she's not telling you guys right now.
I should also state, for the sake of everyone's safety, there may well be possibility that the Night Sister, will be able to create a new Soul Saber.
I think that my head would snap at Horta. Excuse me?
Telepathy.
Oh, sorry.
Who is he saying that to?
To the Jedi Master that we're talking to right now. I feel it's necessary for me to share the as much information as I can for the sake.
I was just asking if you were
everybody's
sending
safety.
it directly to her, or if everybody could hear you when you said that.
I'm fine with everybody being able to hear it.
Okay, so
Okay,
Davi,
my
you did hear
reaction
that then.
stands.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Davi, you snap
I just
before the
wasn't sure
Jedi
if that-
Master can even have a chance to say anything.
You want to clarify that?
Alia provided me, after we rescued her from the cave, they provided me with a crystal as well. A crystal that matches the color and connotation of the Soul Saber, a purple. And when we were leaving, I gave her said crystal, basically saying we would be back for her.
Why would you do such a thing?
Because she is not fully in control. She was trapped within her mind and her body. A portion of her was.
You still gave her the crystal
Still
Something that I didn't know.
while she was trapped.
Something that I did not know about. A soul saber, a concept according to myth, a concept I would not know about. Yes, I gave her a crystal that she had given me as a token of hope, as a token of saying that she was not alone. Yes, I did.
Even if you didn't know about the soul saber, she used her crystal to create the saber that she then massacred everyone with.
Yes.
And you gave her another one so she could create another blade for herself.
As you guys are saying this, you can see like Master Sean's forehead just like getting more and more wrinkles as she's frowning deeper and deeper, as she understands the implications of everything you guys are saying, that this was a person that had infiltrated the academy as a student, that you guys helped out, and then turned on you guys and killed everyone.
Yes.
But okay, so you say yes to Dalvi here. Dalvi, did you have anything to reply or retort to that?
He just gives you a look that's like, you did the stupidest thing ever. And she doesn't have words for you anymore.
Okay.
What's that crunching sound?
That's me.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I was like,
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap the bag around itself because I have no clothespins to close it with.
That just means you need to eat more of them.
Right.
I just got this bag yesterday.
I see no problem in this.
So, that being said, at this point, right, you managed to, how do I put this? I guess stop wanting to strangle Ortha long enough that you'll
Quite
hear.
They're just very irritated with them.
Yeah. Long enough anyway that you know, I just had that funny like Bart Simpson trying to like getting strangled by Homer for a sec there, mental image.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, but you did what? You little.
Not the level of killing strangle. That's what I took it as when he said that. It's like, I don't
No,
want to kill him for
exactly.
it, but
I will state
Homer Simpson?
that
Yeah.
I did mention that as well when we first discovered the whole Soul Saber thing. And I did
Oh, I don't
state
remember
that I
that.
did give that to
You
her.
did, you did.
I think
I was never hiding
I
it,
wasn't I don't think
basically.
I was in the room for that. I was in the med bay.
How to do it.
And
I
either
didn't come to the room
way,
till later. So
the level of shock that you're in.
It's still valid, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So-
I was just trying to state that I was being forthcoming about it and stuff.
I know.
That being said, you'll see at this point Master Sean kind of look at Garm, and she reaches that level of exasperation where she just huffs, sit backs, rubs her temples, groans, shakes her head. It kind of has a, and this is why. And she kind of shakes her head again and doesn't actually like finish that sentence, but honestly, the way he recoils, you can tell that like they have a past, and that's why he's not allowed. Well, not allowed. That's why he left this particular temple. She'll look at you again and she says, "Well, what's done is done, and the past won't change, no matter how we wish it so. That being said, from a more practical standpoint here, the Sunsaber itself is, as I said, a weapon of myth, and nobody really knows where it is. And even if I did, honestly, I don't see why I would allow a bunch of, well, no offense, Padawans and freshly minted knights to go and get a hold of such a weapon. Why are you looking for it anyway?" she says as she looks at you guys.
So this doesn't happen again.
That's a very vague answer in the first place. Once more, why do you feel like you should go and get your hands on it?
Because we have seen it. We have some knowledge of it. Some
You've
knowledge
seen the
behind
Sunsaber?
character. No, of the Soul Saber, to the point
Ah.
where the Sunsaber may help us.
You've seen its destruction firsthand.
So Garm at this point is going to kind of interrupt you guys, and he's going to say to Miss Sean here, "Master Sean, it's not so much about us wanting to acquire said weapon, as much as it is the fact that the witch mentioned it, and she seems to be after it. She even killed Master Ordo to attempt and get the information out of him." And when he says that, she looks saddened this time, as she looks at Garm, and she says, "Well, Master Ordo was most definitely one of our, well, one of our best, and he'll be missed. I'm sorry, Garm, that he passed. I know you and him were close. That being said, and what little emotion or softness or whatever you saw when she says that to Garm, it vanishes almost instantly, and she's back to being this cold, steely woman. As she'll look at you both and say, "Well, I fail to see a reason to even have you, run after such a myth, such a legend, but if it is indeed to prevent it from falling into their hands, securing it at the very least would be in our interest." She'll look at Garm and then back to you guys and say, "Fine. If you think you can locate it, I'll grant you guys temporary access to the, sensitive section of the archives. Under Garm's strict supervision only," she says, looking at Garm, and she says, "No looking into the Sith stuff." That being said, yes, if you can find any form of reference to it, feel free to hunt it down, only once again to make sure it does not fall into, the hands of that witch. And on that note, she'll motion you guys to exit, as the audience is clearly over, and she has a lot of things to think about and ponder, because, let's be real, there's a lot of information you guys just gave her in that last couple of sentences.
And none of it good.
Well, none of it good, and some of which reflects very... Oh yeah, we know they're going to look at the Sith stuff, but definitely, definitely one of those situations where this did not look good. This did not reflect well on Master Garm's track record. We're going to call it that.
Before they leave, though,
Yep.
Zuri will address her and say, "I'm not sure if you know, but I wonder if my master is present. Is he still on the planet or somewhere else?"
She looks at you and she says, "I'm sorry, but I don't have the pleasure of remembering every Padawan's master. What was your master's name?"
"Master Trask."
Ah, Trask, yes. Bothan, right, if I remember correctly?
"Yes."
Unusually large for his species?
Yes.
Yes. Give me 1 minute. She pumps something, types something up in her own data pad, reads real quick what pops up, and she says, yes, he's actually on world right now. Though not at the temple. He left about 2 weeks ago for an expedition, hasn't come back yet.
Ah, so he's not available. Unfortunately.
Not to talk, unfortunately, but, I mean, look, if he should be back shortly. If things do, pan out as planned. I think the total time he told me his expedition should take was 2 weeks and a half. He should be back any time.
Well, I will keep an eye out then. I appreciate it.
Before you should go, she says to you after the others have, partially or fully exited here. She kind of motions for you to come closer, Zuri.
Javi is
No.
waiting for Zuri to finish her inquiry because she has her own inquiry for the master.
Oh, yeah, she'll get closer.
And I'll step partially away, just kind of giving them their privacy. As obviously they want that.
Considering you are, or were once his Padawan, I'm simply to inform you that his expedition, if you will, sent him to the pole, the north one to be exact. He says routine scouting preliminaries had indicated a potential cave network beyond, or below, should I say, the North Pole, and, well, quite frankly, he wanted to investigate as there was the potential for, how do I explain this? Ancient Jedi, like, beginning of the Order Jedi, artifacts or potentially a temple or something, like I said, as in that cave network. So we just wanted to simply investigate it as such.
It's a strange planet to be on.
What do you mean?
What was he investigating there, specifically?
Well, like I said, that cave network under the North Pole's snows, under the ice.
Yes, but why?
Oh. Simply because, well, she kind of looks around again. It's one of the primary sites for the acquisition of kyber crystals on Tython. And that one seems to be, well, again, as far as our primary probes go. I'm sorry, my brain does not want to talk tonight. As far as our preliminary probe scans go, there seemed to be a rich deposit there too within those caves. And an alternate source of kyber crystals is never a bad thing. She smiles. At least as far as... And she kind of opens her arms, like kind of mentioning the temple and everything. As far as the development of our Padawans go.
Interesting.
Less flesh raiders up north too.
I do know it is a planet primarily more of his species, but it's still strange. He never told me any of this.
What
North
about
Poles.
Tython having a North Pole?
Wait, it's on Tython?
Yes, he's on world. She smiles.
No, I'm saying to you because the North Pole is on Bothwell, or whatever how you pronounce that planet. It's like the only North Pole I know about.
No, Tython actually has poles.
Oh.
Planets have magnetic poles.
No, it actually has like caps.
Oh.
Funny enough, yes, there's a whole comic actually that happens in the North Pole of Tython.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a planet that's been used so much in so many media that it's like you can find just about everything on this planet now.
Okay. Alright, well, I suppose depending on how much time we have, I suppose I could wait a couple days and see what happens.
Quite. She smiles. Well, either way, your library access has been, like I said, temporarily upgraded on the condition that you play nice and don't go playing with the Sith holocrons. That being said, I trust Master Garm will at least show some degree of responsibility this time and ensure that you stick to the approved material. Was there anything else? She says, looking at you guys.
Yes,
Please.
we mentioned that we managed to wrest the saber away from the Sith at the cost of my sister's life. Her body is with us, and I need to have a proper ceremony.
So when you actually add those extra details, she'll, again, uncharacteristically for her, melt a little bit, and that cold exterior of hers for a sec will actually soften. She'll even actually stand and walk a few steps to you and just kind of give you like that awkward shoulder pat, like not quite a hug, but you know the whole like I'm sorry gesture almost, you know. Which she'll verbally echo with a I'm terribly, terribly sorry for your loss. I can't imagine what you've gone through. And well, I'm glad that at the very least you all made it alive. I'm sorry, I can't say the same for your sister. Of course we'll make sure to make arrangements for her funeral and take care of it as swiftly as possible. Is there any particular, I hate to talk about it this way, but is there any particular send-off you'd appreciate for her?
Let me think on that. I can't say it's something I've given much thought to.
He nods understandingly as, you know, again, this is left unsaid, but quite clearly, you know, not the easiest thing to think about. And she'll definitely look at Davi and go, well, on that note, feel free to let me know when you've thought about it, and within a few days of you giving me your decision, I'll have it organized and of course taken care of. Again, I'm sorry for all of your losses. This Tatooine attack was a tragedy that should not have been allowed to go on. And, well, if you think finding the Sunsaber is the key to ending this, then by all means, like I said, feel free to pour through the archives. Was this it? Anything else?
Davi nods slowly as she's kind of quiet and introspective again.
Okay. Well, if that's all the same, then I do have another meeting slated to start 10 minutes ago, unfortunately, so... And she kind of gestures towards the door. Garm, at this point, will obviously bow and exit the room if he hasn't already. Zuri, Davi, you guys are staying there? You're exiting? What are you guys up to?
I'm heading out at that point. I have no other business here.
Okay.
Nibble quickly makes his exit because he doesn't want to be anywhere near the get while they're angry.
Very good.
Orta will give a bow and leave as well.
Okay. So, you guys will, I'm assuming, head back to the archives, correct?
Yes.
And this time the librarian will allow you guys into the quote-unquote forbidden section of the library.
I guess Mibble will tag along and just sit in the library doing his studies on the sleight of hand stuff while they're looking.
Okay.
Is Master Garm coming with us, or?
He has to be
yes.
with us, so
Yeah,
hopefully.
he has to be. He's not
Alright.
allowed to let you guys go unsupervised.
As we walk over there, Davi...
Yep.
Davi's gonna walk kind of next to him, but slow her pace a little.
Okay.
In hopes that he kind of matches pace with her to get a little bit distance between her and the group, as she doesn't want to have a conversation with everyone, just with him.
Okay.
Master Garm, I'm afraid that when we left, sorry, my brain's having a minute. When we left Tatooine, had a moment of weakness. I'd like to blame it on the influence of holding on to that blade for so long, but it could have just been everything that happened. She kind of sighs for a moment as she's looking for the words to explain what she did.
Yep.
I think we did explain it to him.
No. She's talking about something
No,
else.
I did something else entirely.
She did a small
Oh.
boo boo, but yes, okay.
And
He
she's
looks
just-
at he quote unquote looks at you
Yeah.
and says nothing as he's waiting for you to say what you have to say.
And she probably just looks back out at kind of the crowd instead of looking at him, kind of out of shame a little, and she'll kind of blurt out quietly, I moved the saber.
Oh,
And I moved it again this morning out of fear of being caught and feeling like I was in too deep, and now I don't know what to do with it.
he has a small chuckle when you say that, and he kind of looks at you again, quote unquote, looks at you as only a mirror Lucan can look at someone else, right?
Yeah.
And he smiles and he'll say, well, let me do my job as a teacher for once and simply say this. Being a Jedi is not about necessarily being immune to the allure of the dark side. It's simply resisting it and choosing to stay in the light. After all, I don't think any of us has ever been completely immune to the charms of the dark side.
They have cookies.
They do indeed have very
They're
tasty
delicious.
Dark chocolate cake cookies. Double fudge.
And he's gonna smile and he's gonna look at the rest of the group, then back to Davi, and he's gonna say, if you have to step away and you're a few minutes late to the library, I don't think the others will notice or be that bothered.
She'll nod, understanding what he's implying. And she just kind of heads that way.
Yep. So he'll let her go and deal with the situation in the way she chooses to. But on that note, yeah, he's gonna head straight to the library along with the rest of the group. Orta, you said you had something special that you wanted to look into.
Mm-hmm.
While you were there. The unfortunate reality is that sort of stuff is gonna be in the Sith Holocron section
Mm-hmm.
of the forbidden materials. So you're gonna have to figure something out for that.
I know.
Zuri.
I think they went AFK
They
for a
stepped
second.
away, yeah.
Yes. What's up?
Nope, you're fine. Take your
Oh, they're
time.
back.
We'll be going on break shortly after all this, by the way. Zuri, you end up looking into. You get to the library. Mibble, did you follow her to the library, or you just went back to doing your thing for a
I
second?
went to the library, but I'm not going into the section with them.
Mhm.
I'm more or less just going to find myself a table to continue my own studies on sleight of hand.
Okay, very good. We're gonna have a klepto rabbit on our hands soon enough.
Hey,
but
make him come in handy.
Right. That being said, yeah, Zuri and Orta, you'll both be allowed in to that section of the library along with Garm. Orta, I'll let you cook up what you want to do once you're there, but Zuri, what do you do once you get to that forbidden section?
The forbidden section.
Well, the Master's only section, but you
I'm
know what
gonna
I mean.
look for anything that's on the Sun and Soul sabers.
Okay. So
Anything
the Soul
fine?
Saber information again comes back as being in the Sith Holocron section, and it's like there's this big red like type response when you try to access it. And Garm kind of looks at you and kind of like shakes his head a little bit. On the flip side, for the Sun Saber, you do find an old text that, refers to it.
Okay.
And when you pick up that text, first of all, you were expecting it to be on a, I don't want to call it a data drive, but on a data
Holocron?
chip. No, data chip.
Oh. Okay.
But Indeed, it was not. It's on a holocron, exactly, and an old one at that. You can tell, the edges are a little on the crumbly side of the Force here. And when you activate it, you see this old-looking Jedi. You're not even quite sure of the species because they have their hood pulled up.
Okay.
And they look at you and they go, yes.
I'm looking for anything on the Sun Saber or Soul Saber.
Well, as far as the Sun Saber goes, he looks at you, he says, it was one of the first forged weapons of the Jedi. And the holocron, and as he's talking, kind of like, you can see again it's old, right? And it's kind of stuttering, flickering, the image isn't clear. Like, the Force imprint that they left in it is definitely not, how do I put it? Is definitely not in prime functioning capacity, for lack of a better term here. And as it's hiccuping and glitching and whatnot, can you roll me a quick check what roll? Can you roll me very quickly? A. Technology roll.
Technology?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus Christ. 16.
You can tell this.
Had all night.
Right. You can tell this thing is probably like gonna break down soon enough, and you don't have many questions left for it. But yes, it kind of drones on a little bit about its history, which I've already told you guys earlier in the audience chamber, so nothing new on that front. Yep.
Okay.
But yeah, most of the info comes, like I said, jumbled and corrupted. As you probably have like one or two questions before this thing kind of crumples into dust.
Where was its last known location, and who wielded it?
So, it was wielded by, and as it says the name, the thing distorts and kind of like screeches a little bit. And it was...
What? Oh, sorry. The library, yes. Okay, sorry. What?
Much better.
I may need your assistance.
Mibble sort of hobbles over. What do you need?
Well, after I see what it answers, I'm gonna need maybe help fixing this. It seems to be very old and fragile right now.
And so while you're not able to get the name, it does tell you, as for the last known location of this thing, well, as far as he's concerned, it was here on Tython. And he kind of, how do I put this? Starts to almost like tell you a story, right? About how it was hidden away to be preserved, and so on and so forth. But every time he's about to tell you, like, flat out, like, where it was, the holocron seems to jitter and stutter, and the information never comes through clearly.
But I couldn't catch the name?
Nope.
You couldn't catch name, and you can't get the precise coordinates.
Or location, yeah.
Do you think perhaps you can improve it? You have delicate hands.
He holds out his hand.
So, Mibble, this is a Jedi holocron. Which means it's part tech, part force power, voodoo, force stuff.
Voodoo.
Yeah, so I don't deal with force things. That's your voodoo kind of magic. As far as the device itself, I mean, can I do a check to see if maybe I could somehow, if I can't repair it, can I transfer it to a new device?
Give me a tech roll.
Something with expertise in, I believe.
Okay.
Whoops. Wrong area. And that's going to be 27.
So, just like a doctor who sees a stage 4 cancer patient, you know this thing is not long for the world. Unfortunately, it's a holocron. Again, it's not. It's not a computer or something where you could just transfer the data over, right? It's something that's force infused. Transferring this to another device would require somebody who's really like strong in the force, and it's not something that can just be done here on the corner of a table. But yeah, the actual physical medium, if you will, of this holocron is about to crumple into dust any minute now.
You may want to bring this to the attention of the librarian.
All right. Is the librarian present?
Yep, she's not too far from you guys.
Okay. She'll ask for her assistance. To perhaps transfer the information from this datacron.
She's gonna shake her head and she's gonna say, unfortunately, this thing is ancient. Its physical medium is breaking down, and transferring the actual information to another holocron is honestly harder than even making a new one from scratch. I'm afraid the best I could do here is record all the information that you guys are currently getting from this and just creating a physical data chip with the information on it. And as she's saying this to you, the datacron spits out one sliver tidbit of information here. As it mentions a system of subterranean caves hidden in the North Pole of Tython.
Oh my god.
Looks like we're going to meet your master.
Shocker!
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
And one cave in particular where it says, and where that master says is what he calls a cave of memories. And that the key to finding the Sun Saber, if it still exists, can be found there. And as it gives you that last tidbit of information, which, oddly enough, the representation of the master itself looked like it was struggling to get you the info. The holocron itself just starts to short, and there's a faint smell of burnt as it just crumples and breaks down completely.
Okay.
While you were doing that, Master Garm, on his end, was kind of busy with Orta. As Orta was kind of eyeballing some of the Sith stuff. Not without a purpose, mind you, which thankfully Garm picked up on. As he will approach you, Orta, and he'll go, well. And he kind of crosses his arms and he goes, well.
I think there is something we can still do for Alia.
He's going to give you a bit of a sad smile here, and he'll say, well, it's admirable of you to still want to save her despite everything she's done. Not a lot of people would.
I was able to speak to her directly in her mind, and she was trapped there.
Kind of narrows
actions-
non-existent eyes at you, or does the frown at the very least when you mention
Sharpie
that.
draws.
Mm-hmm. And he'll look at you and ask you flat out, and what do you think you can do for her?
I can try. I'm ignorant in this, to be frank, and I just know that I'm supposed to help people, and that I want to
Mhm.
help people.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing I can do is find answers to the questions that I need answers, and hope that I find something that can help.
Well, I can tell
not
you
sure
one
what to
thing
do.
for sure. You're not going to get that help through Sith holocrons. They're deceitful at best, and even if you do somehow see through the trickery in them, most, if not all of these awkward, weird, heinous in certain cases Sith rituals exact a toll that, no offense, young Padawan, but I'm not ready to see you pay.
Understood. Do you have answers that I can help me, or do you know where
So-
I can find the answers that I might want to find?
When you say that, he does smile and he says, well, taking the Soul Saber away from her was definitely a good first step, as that thing's dark side influence is notorious, but I personally have the feeling that, well, provided she's not kind of gives you a little bit of a sad smile, rotten to the core, um,
Hmm.
perhaps, and this is simply perhaps, but, well, and you can see that he's thinking about it, and this is purely conjecture on his part, but he does think about it, and you can see he says, well, perhaps simply defeating her and proving to her, for a lack of better term, to her dark side, that quickly gained power is not all that strong in the end. Well, I'm just simply hoping that maybe in the end it'll weaken the cage enough, if you will.
Hmm.
But again, this is purely conjecture. I'll be honest with you, I've never really dealt with a case such as that. More often than not, when somebody fell to the dark side in the past, at least as far as I was concerned, they did so willingly, and, well, whether we redeem them or not, it's still a choice they made, right?
Indeed.
From what you're telling me of Alia, it doesn't seem to be her choice.
Doesn't seem that way from the perspectives I have been given. No.
He kind of tilts his head to the side, and says, well, perspectives can often be especially narrow ones can often be misleading. I'll make some degree of material available to you. Select copies that I'll forward to your terminal, to your datapad. Feel free to read through them when you have a little bit of time off, but at least the stuff I've sent you is not, and he points at the row of, Sith holocrons that have been confiscated by the Jedi. And
I'm
he
just
says,
imagining like those weird pop-up ads that show up all over the internet.
Says, at least it's not you having to deal with whichever one of these Dark Lords you chose to ask questions to.
Indeed. And Orta will give him give him a bow and be like, sincere gratitude to you. I understand this might seem like a fool's errand, for lack of a better term. So your willingness to help me
Garm
in the endeavor.
Garm looks at you, and his looks are inscrutable for a sec. Like, he's got a complete poker face going on as you're saying this.
Mhm.
And he'll look at you, he'll say, well, if you can succeed, and he'll sigh and then he'll smile and kind of shake his head and then not really finish his earlier thought. And he'll go, well, if you do succeed, that'll be quite the achievement. And you can see that he almost looks hurt when he says that out loud. Before he himself bows before Orta and addresses the rest of the group, he says, all right, well, if what I've overheard you, Zuri, mention is correct, then we have a bearing, yes? If you're
Muted, I think.
talking, Zuri, I cannot hear you.
Yes, we do.
Good. Then, is there anything the rest of you would like to do before we head out? And I'm assuming by this point, Davi, you've done your stuff and you're back. Well, you're not back in stream, so we'll assume that for now. If there's anything else that she did, we'll ask later. But I think this is going to be the perfect opportunity for us to go on break here, as I believe, anyway, the rest of us will be loading up on the ship and prepping to head out for the North Pole. And we're going to say break time for now, and we'll be back in about maybe 5-10 minutes after everybody reloads on fluids, and for some more TOTOR, and slightly more stimulating stuff than all this archive delving. So there we go. Break time.
And we are back.
Yes.
Everybody.
So.
You doing okay?
Oh yeah, it's the pain plus the pain meds that are just making me a little loopy, but I'm a-okay. I have the script in front of me, so we'll follow the script. I'll be okay.
Okay. If we need to
Even if you
go
guys go
a
off the
little
rails,
early.
I'll adjust. We'll be fine, huh?
Okay, if we need to end a little early it's because you're in pain,
We'll
it's okay.
we'll see what I can do and what my body is capable of taking here. But I'll definitely do my best for now, and we'll go from there.
Okey-dokey.
So yes, you guys arrive right on at the northern hemisphere, the North Pole, and as you're flying above it, routine scans will actually give you guys the beacon for sorry, what did you say your master's name was? I'm drawing a blank again.
Tresk.
Resk. Okay.
Tresk.
So for Master
Tresk. I'll send it to you.
Trask. Sorry, yes. Master Trask's
Tresk. I'll send it to you.
Tresk?
Yes.
Sorry, Master Tresk. I'll get it right on the 15th time.
Master Navi?
Stop it. Yes, Master Tresk. Yes, you'll get the beacon for Master Tresk's ship, and be able to navigate ours and land it next to it. Zuri, you will no doubt recognize this as being Master Tresk's ship. You've seen it before. You recognize it. You're like, yep, that's my master's ship. He's definitely here somewhere.
That's it, guys.
What's he like?
Asking this in character.
Yes.
Oh.
What's your master like?
He's very caring in his own way. He pretty much took care of me for most of my life, training me, helping me become the Jedi that I am now. He's
Good.
a big teddy bear, though. Don't let his gruff outer appearance fool you.
It will be kept in mind.
But he's on the strange mission, so we'll need to figure out what he is doing exactly.
Right.
And the mine's somewhere, though.
Yes.
I'm actually gonna look at Nibble and go, Nibble, there is a good chance that what he's searching for, or maybe some sort of map, might be in the ship's terminal. Is there a way to perhaps look into that?
I can see what I can do.
Alright.
Is he able to get into the ship's database to see what he's looking for?
It's actually locked. Obviously, nobody leaves their database open. But if you want to force your way in there, you can still give me a
Technology?
I believe it would be a technology roll, as you would try to hack yourself into there.
How about a 19?
That's definitely not bad. And while you don't get like full access to the system controls and whatnot of the ship, you are able to, at the very least, access the maps, and you realize, yes, indeed, he did have a map of this place, and as a result, you're able to kind of get the, how do I explain this? The itinerary through the maze of caverns that he and his team have employed. So, as a result, what this is going to do is you guys, provided you don't fail at reading the map, you guys will not have to play the, which direction are we going in minigame. As this is indeed a maze of caverns, but this will actually simplify your progress, and you'll actually be able to, again, find your way through a lot easier than you would have otherwise. So, end result of that one is congratulations. You just saved yourselves a bunch of headaches by thinking outside the box. Good. I take it. I like it when people think outside the box. That's the whole point of D&D, think outside the box. So, as a result, you will indeed find some degree of a way to go through, like some pathway through the caves. And I need to ask all of you, what are you wearing right now? I know, creeper question number
Why
400.
do you want to know?
Because it's
And
freaking
don't tell
freezing and it's the
strangers on the
North
internet,
Pole
my
and
outfit.
hypothermia is a very real thing.
I'm wearing the perfect clothes for the environment always, obviously.
Okay.
We did pick
I
up a
feel-
couple sets of clothing when we were at what's it called? So probably would have picked up a jacket just in case.
Very good.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
feel like
would
knowing
we-
we were gonna go to a North Pole, picked up
Yeah.
some warm clothing.
Yeah.
At the very
Common
least, stop by the
sense.
Lost and Found, yeah.
Just making sure. Yep. Very good. Okay.
The lost and found.
I don't tell creepers on the internet what I'm wearing.
I mean, don't tempt me. All right. So I like him feisty. No, I'm just kidding.
Huh?
All right. Jokes aside.
Orta, you're in trouble.
God damn it, hon. Why you gotta do me dirty like that? All right. Game over. All right. That being
Rocks fall, we
said,
all die.
right? Rocks fall, the DM dies. FBI, open up. No, anyway. All that to say, yeah. So
What?
you hit Bantho on us, bruh. Azrin, please. All right. So in the end, yes, you guys will, appropriately dressed here for cold weather. You guys will enter the cave network, I'm assuming, or is there anything else you'd like to do before you go in?
You assess the situation first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me a perception check.
Seven.
Okay. You don't know shit. Anybody else?
Assuming I'm there, because I missed the last little bit. Where's my
6. I know nothing.
I have good perception.
Mm-hmm.
I have shit dice though. 8.
I have 18.
Ah.
At least one of us is paying attention.
I rolled a
Thankfully, while everybody
rolled a
else is
2.
kind of like looking at the map and the caves and trying to figure out where they're gonna go and what they're gonna do, Zuri, you just take a few minutes to kind of look and enjoy looking at the scenery. And one little thing oddly sticks out. There's a sizable chunk of snow that's oddly shaped a little further away.
Well, something was weirdly buried over there.
It's big. It's really big.
Something really huge was buried over there. Should probably go take a look. Might be part of the mission, perhaps.
Okay.
I say this to the group.
Oh. I mean, it can't hurt to look at it, right?
Knock yourself out.
Azrin, Luke Bantha. Stop. Okay. As you approach Davvi, you won't see anything alive under the snow. There's nothing alive there.
I'll report that to the group. I don't read any life forces.
Suppose we can see what is buried under here. It's a very sizable chunk.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
So how are you guys digging?
Digging
There's
for
snow,
chumps, I'm a
right?
Jedi. Just
Force.
kidding.
The force. We can cut the snow with lightsaber to melt the snow.
I have a shovel, just kidding.
So as
There
you
might
guys-
be a shovel on the
Right.
ship.
So yeah, probably. But so as you guys one way or another just dig through here, eventually you'll hit something under the snow that makes a bit of a clang sound.
Ding fries are done. Yeah, we will. Did it sound like metal that we hit?
Yep. Durasteel, most probably.
Go ahead and use your hands to just
Clean
peel it
up.
away.
So, as you guys clean it up more and more, you realize this is a ship.
Oh, well, we've already seen your master ship, isn't that right?
Yeah, so this is different.
And
As,
what?
I want to peel off the side with the
Yep.
snow to see if I can find the name or the number of the ship.
So you do, and as you peel it up and you look at it and everything, it's quite odd because you recognize this model of ship.
Don't let it be what I think it is.
What do you think it is?
I think it's a ship
What's her
from
face?
Tatooine.
Is it
What's her butt?
Brigid Stone's ship?
What do you mean,
I'd like to
Zuri?
ask
What's
if
her
we
butt?
can tell how long it's been under the snow, but I don't think we have enough information about the climate here to understand that.
Although it doesn't mean that it wasn't buried
Hmm.
by force. Ah.
That too.
But
True.
does it look like a ship that came from Tatooine, perchance? Does it look similar to Second Shadow in any way?
Roll me a tech roll.
Nah, I'm not gonna know anything. I got nothing. I've rolled.
So
I just refuse to give the terrible number.
What was it? A 1?
No. Here's a hint. Blaze it.
Oh my.
anybody else want to try taking a look?
Yes. Okay, dice are somewhat cooperating. 18.
You've never really seen a ship quite like this one.
You just said I recognized it.
It looked familiar, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
it did at first, and then as you dig out more and more of it, because at first, yes, you thought it looked a little bit like the Second Shadow, right? But then as you dig and dig, you realize this thing is bigger. And it has this weird elongated shape almost.
Hmm.
What's more is, considering how it was like under a sheet of snow and ice and everything, I'll even give you the extra and say that it's probably been there for a while. This is not like fresh snow that was just kind of like thrown on top of it as camouflage or anything. This ship's been there for a while. Also why it doesn't really show anywhere on your how do I put this? Also why it doesn't really show up on any of the scanners when you guys approached or anything. This thing probably ran out of power quasi completely. And Zuri, you said you were trying to like take a look at the ship, right? Like the name on the side of the ship?
Yes.
It's very much faded away, either by time or damage. This thing seems like it's had a bit of a hard time, like it crashed here. But what you can tell is on the side of the ship, there's two letters that are left. One is an N and the other one is an M. And they're fairly spaced apart.
Does that mean anything to me?
Nope. Not to your character, anyway.
Okay. Does anyone else recognize this ship model? Nibble, perhaps?
I could see. Do I do another tech roll?
Sure, go for it.
Yeah, I'll just do one just because I was asked.
Nat Kraken for a 28.
Hey.
That,
Damn.
there we go. Flat even die roll, so 15.
Okay. So, Mibble, you're a techie, right?
Mhm.
You've seen ships from all over the universe.
Mhm.
You know most of the main, how should I put it? Ship manufacturers and all that, right?
Yeah.
You don't recognize this thing.
Huh.
This ship is unlike anything you've ever seen before.
This is a new one.
What do you mean?
I've seen so many different kind of ships in my day. I never seen one like this.
Really?
Hmm.
Can you tell if it's an older or younger model?
It's no model I can recognize.
Hmm. Well, it's certainly old, that's for sure.
It could be an outdated model, possibly.
Looking at the hull from this thing, you realize it's not even made of Durasteel.
Even the middle's different.
Hmm. That's strange.
And unlike a lot of Star Wars ships, or not unlike a lot of Star Wars ships, sorry, I can't English. This thing, and I'll say this like out of character, just so you have a bit, or like you can visualize it a bit better, has almost a little bit like an airplane design, almost like a futuristic space airplane design, almost in nature, in the sense that it has a very long body, and it has 4 reactors kind of spread apart off the center hull, 2 on each side, almost like wing patterned. It's like somebody took a fighter and just blew it up the size of a frigate.
Perhaps we should look inside and see if there are more clues on it. Where it came from.
It's not a bad idea.
Well, I need to thaw out the doors. Imagine it's been sealed with ice at this point.
Oh, we have ways of getting in, I suppose.
Only we had some sort of heat sources.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see if we can even activate the door.
Nope. This thing has been out of power for so long, there's no activating the doors. You want to get in, you'll probably have to cut your way through. Fortunately, again, this thing's not made from Durasteel, and your lightsabers can probably chop right through.
Dang. 3 lightsabers?
Look at the 2 other Force users I know have lightsabers. Like, are we cutting?
Don't see why not.
GG.
It's been immobile for a very long time, so I don't see why not.
Locate the door. Tell them where to cut.
I'll take one of the upper corners. Which corner do you guys want?
I'll leave that to you two.
I mean, we just need to make a door big enough for all of us, so I don't see why we just cut open one section.
No, that's what I meant. If we all work together to cut the hole, we can all do it at the same time and go a little faster.
Sure. I suppose.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll just do it.
Yeah.
So you guys chop your way through the hull with your lightsabers, kind of burning a hole and getting in there. And did you guys do this more towards like the very front of the ship, more towards the middle, or towards the back of it?
Mibble
Middle.
located the door for us.
Okay. So you guys cut through the first door and realize, yeah, well, you just kind of cut into a airlock, as there's a second door in front of you.
Yes, I think that was the
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you're cutting through the second door, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You cut through the second door, and you realize that you're at the you're at basically what looks like almost like a crew pit, but it's elongated. It's almost like a hallway, and then divoted into the floor. There's seats that are facing like now turned off screens.
So I got a very important question for Zoro. Did you do the top? Were you the top or the bottom? As we cut the door.
Depends, how tall are you? Depends, how
You guys
tall
are
are you?
funny.
I saw where you went. I actually do have her height in here. I'm 6 feet.
Oh, bottom then.
To the bottom. We all heard it here.
Yeah, power bottom.
I believe that.
I will not comment on that. Moving on. So like I said, right side hallway crew pit on both sides of the hallway. It's almost like a metal catwalk with, like I said, divoted crew seats in the floor, right next to the metal catwalk with, like I said, turned off screens on both sides. On your left, there's another sealed door. Do you go through that door or do you walk down the catwalk?
Do we split up and look for clues?
Why'd
I
get
take
an image
it.
of
I
Blue's
take it's
Clues in my
very
head
dark
now?
in here, so Mibble's gonna have his light on.
Light, what is that?
Right.
What is
But-
light?
If I approach the closed door, I guess I don't sense anything. As this has been down here so long. But I'm gonna ask just in case.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Well, it's a very big ship. We could either split up to cover more ground or go into pairs.
I think we should at least do pairs. I don't think anyone should be wandering alone, just in case something happens.
Mibble, with your tech roll, you know that there's like 0 chance of any like automated defenses or anything being functional right now.
Yeah, I don't think any internal defenses, at least by the ship, are active.
And from how old this thing looks, you doubt there's anything left alive in here either.
But at the same time, you don't know. With age, things do fall apart.
Oh, 100%.
Someone
I'm
gets injured or anything like that, we should have it be in groups of pairs at least.
I'm not saying go alone. I'm just saying I'm giving Mibble extra info based on her roll.
Oh, I know.
Yes. Good. Okay. So that being said, all right. Who's going through the door? Who's going down the catwalk?
Well, lightsaber team go through the door?
Okay.
Then I'll go down the catwalk
Along
I
with
guess I'll
Mibble.
go with the
along
catwalk.
with Mibble. Yeah.
Okay. So you, Zuri and Davi, as you cut through that door, you enter what looks like a pilot area, if anything. There's a bunch of panels. Yeah, there's a bunch of panels everywhere straight in front. Obviously, all of them are dim now. There's no lights, nothing. It's all turned off. It almost even looks like there's like antiquated, you don't want to say like viewports, but there are viewports on both sides here. And only one singular unique pilot seat straight down the center with one co-pilot seat on the side to the right.
Okay, I'm just gonna take a look on then.
I will do my best to assist.
You take a look around, and you do notice one little thing. Funny enough, this ship must have been some form of a luxury ship of some kind or another, because the pilot's seat is actually made out of leather.
Or what's left of leather.
After all these years, correct. It's surprisingly well preserved, though. Almost like it was oiled properly and everything.
Does anything stick out?
There's one heck of a butt mark in the leather. Like, whoever
Okay,
was
I didn't mean
piloting
that.
this
I
damn
meant,
thing
like-
absolutely did not stand up very often and basically lived in his pilot seat. But other than
I
that,
meant, like, are there distinctive markings? Is there a journal? Is there pictures? Like, I'm looking around.
funny enough, Let me see. Not really. That's the sad part about this thing. Like it looks like very high end for its age, for its time. It looks like high end tech, but it looks very sleek, very high functional, and at the same time luxurious. But there's no like distinctive markings. There's the usual like watch out for the step here, yellow and black, like bars, just making sure you see stuff so you don't trip over it or whatever. There's lights that run or would have ran if the ship had any power left at equal intervals on both sides of the pilot seat towards the door. Again, it's all very highly functional. One thing you do notice, there's a lack of actual control instruments. Like there's panels and everything, they're all shut off, but there's no like joystick, handle, or any of that stuff.
Huh. Interesting. She will place her hand on the control panels and concentrate as she closes her eyes to see history.
So, is there a roll you can do for that, or?
I don't think it's a roll, I just do it.
Okay. No, it's just to know how much of it I tell you, but
I mean, a history roll, as she recalls. It's
Right.
history.
I think I just see it.
I know, I'm messing around.
in your mind's eye, all the panels are suddenly lit up, and you can see a lot of it is holotech.
Okay.
As in front of you, that now dead panel looks alive, very much alive again, and lit up in bright yellow orangish lights. And you can see a pair of hands dancing across those lights, almost like they're pushing and pulling and moving the hologram, almost. And you can see the ship kind of shaking around, as clearly it's either being shot or damaged. You feel the usual rumbling and shaking of a ship that's entering atmosphere, and then a crash as it hits the ground. And oddly enough, when it hits the ground, what you see through the viewports is not the snow of where you are now. It looks like actual like ground, and there's leaves and there's trees and dirt and rocks and whatnot. It's not snow.
Do I see a log anywhere on the panel showing the date?
Best as you look, unfortunately, there does not seem to be a date written.
Do I see
there's
how it malfunctioned at all? Like if they hit something?
you just see damage reports on the panel, or you glanced anyway and saw damage reports on the panel before the ship went down, and it really does seem like it was being damaged. So either attacked or something like that.
Does it show where the damage was located?
Mostly in the aft, like in the back. Aft is the back, right?
Okay.
If I remember correctly on ships. My memory for ship terms is crap right now, but yes, mostly from the back. So it's like it was either being shot or swallowed up or something from the back, and it was getting damaged before it crashed.
Okay.
Okay.
So, just kind of let go and look around a bit more.
Okay. If you guys don't mind, we'll rotate back to the two that are currently exploring the catwalk.
Alright.
So, you guys walk down the catwalk, and you guys have dark vision, correct? Or some form
I
of
have a
light
light
vision?
on. I have a
Okay,
light on.
You have a light on?
Yeah, I have
So-
a flashlight on my, what's it called? What's that weapon's called? On the, bowcaster.
So, you walk further into the ship, and after the catwalk, there's a couple of stairs, maybe like 5-6 steps, that bring you down into this big room, right? And the room itself, at the center of it, it's not quite a stage, you realize, but it's like, it almost looks like somebody built like a bar, but it's huge, and it's in the weird shape of a spade. And at the base of the spade, there's again 4 or 5 steps that walk up where there's like a little handrail standing above it. And can you roll me a tech roll again, Mibble?
26.
You recognize this as being like a really big, like hugely sized holo projector.
Huh.
Logically, it was most probably used to like project like a galaxy map or something.
Interesting.
Or something of similar size that would have a lot of little details that are hard to see on a smaller holo projector. Funny enough, though, if you guys look around, there are no markings. Couple of disused antique screens, couple of holo projectors, a lot of tech on the walls themselves, but other than that, more crew pits on the walls, but on the sides, but there's nothing else beyond that point. Beyond that, you do recognize what looks like an elevator, most probably. Now defunct, and on both sides of that, you see what looks like the beginning of stairs.
I guess we're using the stairs.
Indeed.
Okay. Now, my question to you is, do you guys go up or do you guys go down?
I'd personally say down, but
Yeah. I actually want to see if I can find the engine room or power room and see if maybe I can get this thing, if there's a way to recharge the ship. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
So likely it would be probably downwards.
Right.
Okay, give me 1 second here.
So yeah, we head down.
Yeah. So as you head down, right? You see a few things. You're in a big room that seems to be split up into various like subsections, if you want to call it that. As you come down the stairs and you round the corner with what would be the elevator shaft at your back, you see on your right, you have what looks like a med bay.
Okay.
You recognize that because there's what looks like antiquated med beds. Oddly enough, you don't see anything that looks like a Koltor or a Bacta tank, which again makes you wonder how old this thing actually is. Straight down the center, past the room, or past what you would call the room, I guess, or the hold or whatever, you see a couple of steps going up, and that door's open, and beyond it, you see what is probably the weapons room.
Take a look at the weapons that they had.
Okay.
Do I have to roll anything?
No. This is fairly easy to recognize. You recognize and you realize that this ship had, torpedo tubes. And it had a couple of cannons. Laser cannons, of course. Though you don't recognize the model of either the torpedoes or the cannons.
Any firearms or anything like that?
Not in this particular area, no.
All right. Hmm. This thing
The
might
ship
be
feels
ancient.
very bare bones. It's almost like whoever left it kind of stripped everything they could strip out of it.
Hmm.
Seems pretty ancient.
Eden seems to have been raided consistently already.
Or cleaned out, at least. Yep.
Well, we still haven't found the engine room,
Yep.
so we should keep searching. Yes, Mibble?
Yep.
So, to the left of that staircase, like I said, that brings to the like torpedo tubes and all that. To the left, you see one more thing. You see what looks like almost like a cafeteria.
I bet if there's anything left, it's all moldy and whatnot.
Of course.
Ugh.
But it does look like some form of crew amenities. As you turn back and further go deeper into the ship, then you'll eventually find, yes, the actual like cargo bay. And you'll find not only the cargo bay, you'll also find the generator room.
Okay, I'm taking a look at the generator.
Okay.
What do I have to do?
Give me another tech roll, really.
That is gonna be a 22.
So this thing is weird. Because it almost looks like the generator is nuclear. Which, again, is very different than most of the other generators you've bumped into on all the other ships, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's got a weird vertical design. And it's obviously it's in its own compartmentalized room, but like this is weird. This is not unlike any generator you've bumped into before, and that just adds to the weirdness of this ship as far as you're concerned.
Hmm. Yeah. This is very strange. I've never seen anything like this.
Can't say that I have either. Not even in records.
And as for the let's give the other two a chance here.
Yeah.
Navi Davi. Navi, there we go.
I couldn't tell if you were switching up my name or calling Zuri the wrong name.
No, I'm just messing with you. Just because Zuri had a good chunk of time earlier, I'm just starting with you here. Eventually, you guys will kind of check out everything there is to check out with the pilot area, the cockpit, if you want to call it that, and you'll walk back down that hall with that catwalk because there's literally nothing else to explore at the front of the ship, and probably make your way down the stairs. And while they're checking out the generator room, you guys see that there's like a whole cargo area more towards the front of the ship that's probably like sitting under the other room that you guys were in, the other big room that you guys were in earlier. And so question is, do you go down there into that cargo area, or do you go up the stairs?
Yeah, we'll go into the cargo area.
Okay.
See what's in there.
Okay. So you go down the cargo area, and you see a bunch of crates and whatnot, but when you open them, most of them are empty. There's like a couple of wrappers and old stuff in there, but like nothing that would like indicate or give information about who or what was above the ship, aboard the ship. One thing you do see, however, on the other side of the cargo area is what looks like an antiquated design of a shuttle, kind of hanging from the ceiling on a guardrail, like not on a guardrail, but on a guiding rail with like clamps. And while major inscriptions on the shuttle seems to have been like either faded out by age or scratched out or whatever, you do see a serial number on it that says 67-001.
Does that mean anything to me? Is the shell say recognizable at all? Is it?
I don't think it would really mean anything to you, and even if you roll a super high tech, I'll tell you right off the bat, you don't recognize this model.
And let's be fair, I'm more saying that Zuri read the thing and told me what it is. Since...
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
of course.
That too,
I
of course,
can't
yes. You can't see what's
read!
written there. Yes, I know.
Sorry,
I know.
I can't read!
When you physically can't read, because guess what? You can't see colors.
What was the
She
number
shapes.
again? Because
The number is 67-001. Or at least that's what you can see.
I'm pretty sure they're going to tell me about this, but
Sorry, did that mean anything to you? 'Cause that doesn't.
To me.
I don't recognize it from any of the lectures or anything I've heard.
I don't know too much about ships, unfortunately. I know how to pilot them within reason, mostly more personalized ships, and I know how to function certain features within ships, but everything else, that's my forte, unfortunately.
You know more than I do. I don't pilot them for obvious reasons.
Oh, well, yes. But you do know that you can be guided by the Force.
Oh,
when
I'm
it comes to
aware.
flying.
I mean, the Force guides pretty much everything I see.
Very true.
There's still a limit to how far out I can see, and it always seems a little too dangerous to me. The speeds you go in the shuttles and everything. 30 feet reaction time!
True.
I mean, we're talking seconds that I'd have to react. It's
Very true.
always seemed like too high of a risk.
I can't say I blame you.
Navi, on the other hand, always wanted to learn, but again, everyone else stopped her because of the risk.
Alright. Well, some information I suppose we can give Nibble. You would know a lot more than us, I'm sure, but let's still see what we can find around here. It's very old, though, isn't it?
It is.
It's kind of strange, really.
You'll see a few other things here.
Doesn't even look like it hovers.
No, you actually will see that this shuttle actually goes off of thrusters. Adjustable thrusters, mind you, but it's still thrusters. Correct.
Yeah, is there anything else of interest in the cargo bay?
Yes, there's a few things actually. That's what I was about to give you guys. You'll notice that there's a shooting range here. Well, not necessarily a shooting range, but like a workbench almost for like tuning guns and weapons and whatever. And there's a couple of empty weapons lockers next to it. So clearly, this is where probably whoever used this would like gear up before hopping on their shuttles or off of on whatever to go do whatever it is they would do. And while this place looks fairly empty, you do notice another like big area further off, and the end of the cargo bay goes up at a probably like a 45-degree-ish angle. And y'all realize that with all the markings and everything around it, that this part of the cargo bay was probably designed to like open up and allow people to load things up or unload things from the ship at that particular area. Which again is odd because from what you guys know, most, starship bays and whatnot have force fields, right?
Yeah.
So there's no need for a ramp in and of itself. So again, furthermore pointing towards this tech being probably somewhat antiquated.
How long has the ship been here?
Very, very long time, from what I can gather.
Well, you would be able to gather that from what you saw out the window. When it crashed, this was luxurious, verdant, and green. Now it's,
Well, yes,
a
but I don't
frozen
know how
tundra.
long ago that was still, so.
No, I'm just saying, but for climate change to
Yeah.
change the place that much, that radically, it takes a while. It's not an instant process.
So
For
sticking
the
to my
North
original
Pole
answer-
to freeze again? Yeah.
So sticking to my original answer, a very, very long time ago.
Shall we head up the stairs and see if there's anything up there? Maybe we can bring back a crew manifest or something that will indicate where we found this, match some lost ship record somewhere. That hasn't, assuming it's been digitalized.
That's probably a good idea. Something to work with. I'm sure there's plenty to explore on this ship, regardless, so let's keep moving, I suppose.
At the very least, it needs to go to a museum.
So,
That's what it feels
Speaking
like.
of, as you guys are about to go back up the stairs, no doubt meeting with the other two, can you give me real quick a perception check?
Perception. Perception. Don't screw me! Hey, look, you have to yell that at my dice, okay?
Zuri, your dice are not
okay,
cooperating
confirm.
tonight, eh?
I got a 12, so not terrible, but I rolled.
Okay, no, that's still enough for that. This is not.
I got a dirty 20 because I rolled a 15.
Okay. How about the other two?
Oh, we're rolling too?
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you said that as they were coming back up.
No,
I got a
the cargo
15.
is on the same floor as the generator room, so as engineering, so you guys would probably meet back up.
13.
Yeah, 15 here.
So all of you will notice on your way up the stairs, like right at the base of the staircases, that there's this odd-looking, like really big plaque on the wall, and you'll see inscriptions that go in a line like this, in columns.
Odd.
Does it look like a memorial or something?
Yes. It looks like a list of names, but they're faded by time.
I know what you guys are talking about. It's a wall.
Right.
It's just a wall.
How can you not see that? Are you blind?
I'm telling you, the Toph
I need the top
memes-
gif. Yeah.
The Toph memes are just
You
Hey
know what?
guys,
You know
look
what?
at
You know what?
that! I
You know
see it
what?
over there.
I'd say Orta is talking shit, but the man is just thinking it.
I wonder if his inner monologue accidentally becomes outer monologue ever. Probably.
Probably.
if he inner monologues too hard.
Yeah. Like he's doing
Everybody
laundry
hears
and
it.
he just starts like, and he's just thinking songs.
I
La,
know
la, 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 la,
it's
la,
on
la, la.
The
everybody's
intrusive
phone.
thoughts. The
Right.
intrusive thoughts become
Like those
outer
weird.
thoughts.
It's like when the weird shower questions come out.
Yeah.
God damn it, Orta.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
Anyways.
So yes.
Anything else of interest?
Not particularly here. So you guys do anything here, or do you guys just go up the stairs?
If they tell me about the area where they found like places where they work with their firearms or anything, I want to take a look over there, see if I can find any of the firearms that they used.
Okay. You look around, and nope, all the weapons have been picked clean. Sadly enough.
Any traces of scraps of anything they might have worked on, like modifications or such? Nothing.
Zilch, not even the tools.
Jeez.
Yep.
All right.
Whoever was here was very, very, very careful about not leaving any traces.
Very thorough.
Mm-hmm. As you guys go up, right? If you guys don't do anything more here, if you do, let me know. Otherwise, as you guys go up, past, we'll call it the main floor where you guys entered the ship, the floor above it, you realize it's mostly crew quarters. It's different rooms that were probably used by different people. One of the further ones off on the side actually has more bays looking out into space. There's one that looks somewhat like a conference room almost, like it's a big open room with like a weird, almost hexagonal shaped table in the middle of it.
Gonna see if any of the crew quarters left anything behind.
Yeah, you look into it and you can see that, like, again, different crew members seem to have had different, like, habits. You can see, like, traces of, like, oil stains in one of the room where this one crew member was most probably, like, tinkering. You see one that's, like, very, very Spartan. There's nothing in there other than, like, a bed, a side table, and whatnot. But again, you kind of get the idea that each of those crew members probably, like, were very different from one another. It's far from the old, like, stormtrooper where it's like a bed, a bedside table, an armor rack, and a cupboard, and then just repeat ad nauseum. You know, where it's like it's the same thing over and over and over again. These people actually had some degree of individuality, so it doesn't scream military to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just want to see if they left any certain belongings, maybe something that would give a name or anything.
Zilch.
Jeez.
Not in these, anyway. Nothing individualistic in nature. However, the stairs do go up one final floor.
I guess we're going up again.
Indeed, seems that way.
When you get to that final top floor, you realize there's not much on this floor save for one final, actually fairly big cabin.
Probably captain quarters.
And
most likely.
When you guys enter it and shine the flashlight and everything, you see, like, to your right what looks like, man, how do I describe this? Give me 1 sec.
It's a dead body.
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
It was not me.
I'm just trying to describe it properly for you guys. Give me 1 sec, because I'm not. Want to make sure I get it right. So when you get into that cabin, at first when you enter to your right, there looks to be like almost like a bit of an office space. It's in the typical L-shaped desk with a chair, same leather type chair. Again, an antiquated computer that clearly has no power left. What looks like a data pad, but again, zero power left in the data pad.
I grab the data pad.
Okay.
I'll see if I can recharge it when we get back to our ship.
Okay. But that's mostly what you see, and just past that L-shaped desk, it's very open concept, right? So there it's almost like a window, but not really a window type thing. As you know, you have stairs going down into the main room, or the main part of the room, where you have like a coffee table, a couch. You know what I'm saying? To your left, you have 2 or 3 what looks like transparent steel panels, and beyond them you don't really see anything other than just like what looks like anyway like murky water. So it's almost like there was an aquarium here maybe or something like that, like some decorative thing. And beyond that, at the back of the room, you just see this big bed. So clearly, like you guys surmise, this must have been due to the level of luxury you assume this must be the captain's quarter.
Right.
Quick, Zuri, touch the bed and read its history.
I don't want to. Watch, I touch it and I just go, ooh, it was a very, very lonely man. A lot of things happened in this bed. Not what you would think. Also,
There was a lot of things that
recorded himself. Not.
Some of them involved tears.
It's like a lot of these wet stains are not what we think. Just a lot of tears. A lot of tears. A lot of crying, biting the pillow.
He had no aftercare.
Right.
This man never washed these sheets, my God.
A funny other little tidbit detail. You actually see like a miniature of the ship hanging in that window space type area. And you actually see, from what you've seen on the outside of the ship, that this is probably like a smaller, downscaled version of the ship you guys are currently flying. Well, not flying on, but inside of. And that's about it for the room, from what I can tell you guys right now. There's a bedside table next to the bed, you know, there's basic amenities and stuff, but that's about it.
Perhaps you should take this miniature, this scaled down version, as a souvenir.
Go for it. I want to take a look around the desk a little bit more and see if there's anything else.
Okay.
Other than the data pad.
Not much. The only other thing you see on there is something that looks like almost like a, for lack of a better term, it looks almost like a medal or a commendation of sorts, but any writing that was on the mount for that medal is faded away. Even the medal itself is corroded with age, and it's kind of hard to tell what it looks like or what it represents.
Well, I suppose we could try to take a data pad to document what we have found and perhaps get it looked at by some of our scholars up here, and perhaps they can study it much better than we
I
can.
could probably get into it.
Really?
I might be able to.
We should probably
I just
also
need
mark
to,
it.
I need to power it up first, though.
Hmm.
Providing I can power it up.
We should also probably mark on our map with the location of this so we can give it to said scholars.
Of course. That's not too hard. But if we can find any more information or power it up, that would be amazing. See what we can find.
Yes.
If you need anything specific that you need us to find, locate, or power on, just let us know, Mibble.
Yep. I have to look it over when we get back to our ship. Right now, I think we got something else more important to do.
It's true.
Too bad we couldn't find any indication on whose ship this was, or what ship it was.
Whatever kind of ship this was, it ran on nuclear energy. Nothing like what we have now, that's for sure.
It's a relic of a bygone era.
Might as well be.
I mean, for you, Mibble, like with the tech roll you had earlier, you would even push like one step further here and say not only is this thing ancient, but like it might even be extragalactic in nature. Like this does not look or feel like anything that most shipyards or anything that you know of anyway build. Like it's very alien in that sense.
So yeah, it's not nothing like anything I would know anyone would build.
You guys have truly bumped into something that does not make sense right now.
This is perhaps a discovery of the century. I mean, if you think about it, something like this on Tython that has not been discovered yet.
Anyway,
Like-
I'm heading out, so
Feels like it belongs in a museum of some sort.
Yeah.
and
You
Mibble
belong
starts
in a
making its
museum.
way down.
Okay.
Well, for another time then. We have the map that we need to help navigate and guide us through the tunnels for now, but of course we have no idea where he is.
Right.
Although, who's to say if the Master has not already sensed us by now, but it depends on if he's alright, of course.
If any of you guys have used the Force to try to like sense the area, you'll feel that the energy of the Force around here is oppressive. Like it's for a lack of better term, this whole place is a nexus of Force power.
You're oppressive. That's nice, actually.
My bet is Davia, with using the Force to see, probably is like, I'm getting a headache. I'm getting an optical headache when I don't have opticals.
Optical migraine.
Yep, optical migraine.
So yeah, for you it's not like it's blasting color
Yeah.
at you. It's more like everything here shimmers a little bit. A little bit like migraine auras, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, that does. Unfortunately.
Sorry. But yes, so you definitely, again, it's hard to sense anyone or anything inside, if only because of the raw amount of power this place is exuding at you.
I'm going to have to ask the group for just a bit of an extra help as we go through this. My vision is not acting as it normally does.
Of course. Always glad to assist.
Okay. So I'm assuming you guys are exiting the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah. I made sure to
Yeah.
grab the little miniature thing as
Okay.
a souvenir.
Yep. And on your way out of the ship, in that very same airlock, right, that you guys have passed in on the way in, bolted to the wall, you'll see what almost looks like an equipment locker again, you know? It itself obviously is kind of is locked, but you do notice that, you know, it's just basically lightly soldered to the wall here.
Hey, anyone could get in there.
I mean, I suppose if we just gave it a little bit of a force pull, it would probably come off.
Okay.
I'm not looking to take it off the wall. I'm looking to open it.
I'm fairly sure it's locked. Maybe there's a more civil way to get it open, though.
Can y'all give me a tech roll?
That sounds like it's your forte.
That's gonna be a 21.
So you can tell that this locker is electronic. Without power, there's no opening it.
Not even with a lifesaver.
I mean, if you want to potentially damage what's inside, yes, go ahead, chop at it.
I mean, if they're careful and just like go near where the opening is.
You know
where the
how
lock
deep it
would
is?
be. No.
How thick
You
the
don't
metal
use
is?
the you don't use the tip of the paintbrush. You use the edge of the paintbrush.
I suppose I could see how deep this goes.
Sure.
We know how much force we need to use.
Okay.
Ari is gonna go ahead and use, where is it? Give me a second. This thing is so dumb. I didn't put it on my character sheet yet, so I'm like, where the frick is this stuff? Nope. 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 Okay. You are completely useless. No wonder you're still in beta. Okay.
Them
Wow.
fighting words.
Oof, you just ended whatever entire career there.
I mean, it's so frustrating when I just want to look up one little thing and I'm like, where is it? Okay. Yes, she's gonna go ahead and concentrate for a moment. And as it looks like she's just kind of standing there meditating, everyone else sees her become suddenly incorporeal. As you can still see a shimmer of her outline and everything. You can still see some details on her. She looks almost ghost-like. As I activate my ethereality ability that has no name. To
Force Ghost.
Yeah, basically Force Ghost.
You Force Ghost yourself.
To look through the object and see what I can see on the other side.
So it's about 2 inches thick of metal. And what you see inside, at the bottom of the equipment locker here, the rest has been picked clean, but at the bottom is a lone forgotten helmet.
Second.
Mhm.
It doesn't say. Doesn't say anything if I could bring. Like if I touch other things, if they move back with me. I don't think it shows.
What I would assume is if you're in ghost form, you can't touch anything that wasn't on you before you ghosted. But if you like went back to normal, grabbed it, and then ghosted, you could probably walk out with it.
But can she fit in there doing that?
Yeah, can I fit? Because if I do it while I'm in mid-object, I'll get shunted out.
Yep. So
Can I
unfortunately,
even
in that
fit in this?
no, unfortunately,
Didn't think so.
it's an equipment locker, but it's not big enough for a whole person.
We know
But
how
I
deep
can
it is
see, I can see the helmet though is like on a shelf,
Correct.
right, and everything else is completely empty.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, no, so I'll just pull myself back out, go back to being solid, and point at a particular part of the locker and go, well, it is a bit thick. However, if we were to drill a hole, as it were, right about here, we won't damage an object that I saw in there, a hole of sorts. So we can make our way through and perhaps grab it without damaging it.
All right.
Sounds like a plan.
It's only a couple inches though, so not too terribly deep.
That's what she said.
You know what? I'll actually do it myself with my lightsaber. It's not like I'm making a huge hole anyway, and since I already saw the layout technically on the inside, I'll go ahead and I'll just make a big enough like square to grab that helmet and bring it out.
Okay. Do you inspect the helmet or any of that stuff?
Well, yes. I'm assuming I was able to pull it out. Just fine.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's
Okay.
easy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll pull it out to kind of
I'm
show
not even
it
gonna make
to
a
everybody
roll for that.
and see what it's all about.
It looks like a helmet to me.
It looks like a helmet, guys.
now.
I don't know
Oh,
what
Gavi,
to
go
do.
ahead and take a look. Oh,
The Toph, man. The Toph is strong.
you know.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you just, just tell us about it? Oh.
I see how it is. Dang. We
You
just
can
need to
only
hear
think
no
about it.
evil.
You can speak no evil. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
You
we
can
just
see
need to
no
hear.
evil.
Who's
And
gonna
I
be
touch
dead?
no evil.
I mean, what?
And I touch no evil.
There we
You
go.
touch what?
See?
I touch
I
all
hate
the
you guys.
things. My name is Touchy.
Huh?
Yeah.
I started
This
watching
this entire team is a meme, but anyway. Um, each of you picked like literally I can't see, I can't talk, I can't touch, and I can't hear.
That was completely like on accident. It's kind
I
of
love
funny
it.
how it turned out that way.
I know.
Listen.
Not planned.
It's
We-
not that I
we
can't
talked
hear it, I
about what would
refuse to
happen.
hear.
Yeah, I mean, the Marvin has giant ears. I'm sure they hear everything.
Well, not when you're sleeping. You don't. It takes a couple of photon torpedoes blowing up for you to wake up.
Like I
We
said,
have
Or
it's
proton
not that I
torpedoes.
can't hear.
That's a
it's
personal
that I
problem.
refuse to
Right.
hear.
Oh, sorry, my bad. You're right. You just choose not to hear. My bad. All right. Especially when
It's funny,
summoned
we
to
literally have the no C speaker here to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
So you do inspect the helmet, yes?
Yes.
Yes,
So
every-
you realize that a good chunk of it seems to be like steel or some form of brushed steel. The upper parts, like here and here around the visor, seem to be made of a form of like composite carbon material, almost like carbon fiber, if that tells you anything. And right down the middle here, you have a faded red band.
Interesting. Now that you can bring back.
Yep.
Yeah, we can
Easily.
bring that back with us.
Yes.
Yep.
All right, let's go find this cave.
So I'm assuming you head back out into the cold and towards the cave this time?
I
Yes.
believe so.
Very good. So you head to the caves, and thankfully, with the map and everything, you're able to navigate quite well. And you guys get deeper and deeper, and thankfully, you guys have data pads and whatnot, and you're able to like keep track of time. But long story short, it takes you
87 days.
probably a good
Oddly specific.
12 to 14 hours to follow the map to where it
Oh
leads,
my.
right?
That's a
And
full day and then some.
yeah. And then by the time you guys get there, you get to this huge underground cavern, and inside of it, if you look at your map, you see this like almost mountain looking like area with a weird glow to it, and you realize that most of this mountain is probably kyberite, which means basically the raw, ungrown into a kyber crystal yet element.
Were we able to take a break? I mean, it was like midday when we started this. It's like
We're-
12
no,
or
No,
13
I
breaks.
mean, unless you guys decided to stop and take a break, you're basically getting there at like 10 o'clock at night.
I'd prefer to take a little bit of a nappy. Don't want to get it there too tired.
Yeah, I don't want to get there tired.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a long
Alright.
trek. Yeah, that's
Sure. You
really
guys set up a
long
camp
trek.
and then have
We
a
don't know
short
how
rest
long it's
somewhere
going to
along
be.
the lines.
Yeah, true.
We don't know
Once
how
it
long
starts
it's going to be.
getting
It makes
late, we
sense
just
to
be
rest.
like, yeah,
It's
we can
a
stop a
little
moment.
bit chilly. We have thermal
Wait.
tents, right? Yes, of course we do.
Yeah, you guys have what it takes to camp, I'm pretty
The
sure.
force keeps me warm.
That too.
The force doesn't do that shit.
I mean, if the force can create lightning, it can probably create fire.
I mean,
Look, shake the air's molecules enough and you'll heat up the room.
So yes, theoretically speaking, the force could keep you warm.
You have that good enough of a control over it, sure. But yeah, long story short, you make it to this giant, almost like underground crystal mountain that you guys can see on the map right now, and you see like this trail almost leading up to it, right?
don't this look impressive?
And from what you can tell of the map, I mean, this is what I will butcher his name again. Give me 1 second. Tresk.
It sounds right.
I did not butcher it. Hey,
Tresk.
look
I
at
mean,
me.
it's
For
just
once, I
a
didn't butcher
vowel
a
that
name.
you stumble across. That's just why I
Yes.
don't know why it's Tresk.
Because there's an actual character in the Star Wars lore now named Trask, and so as a result, I tend to butcher them.
Well, there's
and
Sauron,
confuse them.
Sauron, Salomon. I mean, just come on.
Navi,
Damn
Davi,
it.
I know.
There's a pattern here.
Mm-hmm. But yes,
Is there?
Raymond.
Where were you going with this?
So, Saruman, Salomon,
Oh.
yes, you-
Sauron.
you guys do
Right on.
eventually make it, yes, to this, giant crystal-looking natural formation here. You notice there is what looks like a path anyway going up to it, up to about maybe 2/3 of its height, where you see what looks like some form of a doorway or tunnel. And there's this faint glow that you can see even from here, even from all the way over here. There's this faint glow that you can see coming through that tunnel.
Well, I have to say that is beautiful.
Yeah, but I don't know what's up there, so you guys first.
Well, I mean,
Courageous as always, Mibble.
how high up is it? I'm sure we're gonna have to hike it. That looks pretty freaking high.
Yeah, it's probably again another 5-6 hour hike up.
Well, I mean, I have no problem going first, Mibble, but it would be kind of hard for me to tell you that you're good to go when we're at the top of, a mountain.
Yes.
Don't worry, I'll be following behind. Way
Me
behind.
trying so hard not to go to Mass Effect and say I'll call you on my Omni too. I'm like, damn it, that's not how it works.
Y'all got comlinks.
Yeah, but I think some have a certain range on them though, depending on what comlinks we got.
I'll Skype call you through the Force.
When you feel the force tapping on. Oh wait, no, never mind. You're not force sensitive.
I'll use the magic 8-ball and call you.
Should they head up now? Not likely.
That is
Right.
actually something we should invest in now that I think about it. If we're going to continue in this way, we should probably have some form of communication with significant range if all else fails.
It can't
I do
hurt.
have a comm link, but it's quite limited. It's not bad if we were in a town and you were several blocks away, but going up a mountain, that's entirely different. We'll need something that's
Archon,
much longer range.
Orta, I'm gonna need you to scream in your mind really, really, really loud from the top of the mountain.
All we hear is a high-pitched sound that almost dogs can hear.
we went over this before. He communicates with emojis.
Right.
Mhm.
Why do I get a poop emoji? What's that mean? What does the
Mad
eggplant
at you.
mean?
Mm-hmm.
As long as those two aren't next to each other.
Why is the eggplant touching the poop? I don't understand.
Oh, he had eggplant for blood.
And then it gave him an indigestion and he came back out a little on the liquid side, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
That was
We've all had
not
those
what-
days.
that's what the water drop meant. I see
There
now.
you go.
I see now.
It was the multiple water drops. It wasn't just a single one. It had a little splash to it.
Oh, God.
So- I'm assuming you guys climb your way up the mountain ever so
Mhm.
slightly.
Occasionally calling down to Mibble to be like, this area is safe, you can keep coming up.
And despite, having to act, as Mibble's, canary in the coal mine, you guys do manage to make it, to that entranceway. And you will enter it. Yes?
Yes. Well, I mean, observe the doorway and everything too, just to see like
Yep.
if there's any runes or whatever.
Nope.
Of course.
There's nothing like that, and all you can see is just a faint glow that seems to be pulsing ever so gently coming from inside. It does not seem to be from a direct source of light, though. Not that you can tell anyway. It's not like somebody's like clicking a flashlight or anything like that.
Interesting. Let's see what I can find. As I'm actually going to reach out, see if I can sense my master somewhere.
You reach out into the room, correct?
Mm-hmm. The room and beyond, if I'm able to locate anything further beyond.
Okay, you reach into the room and all you feel is like if before it was like a nexus of power, this is a raging like hurricane. This is like the center of that nexus of power.
Oops.
Good luck telling anything apart in here.
I'm probably not having anything better.
Everything just seems to be shimmering even brighter right now, but you can still see contours.
Please tell me you guys are seeing something that I can't. It might make this a
Well,
little easier on us.
There's a few things that I can see that you can't. Sorry. I'll stop.
I mean, we can fix that for you if you'd like.
I guess I could do a perception check, see what's on my end.
Okay.
I mean, that's why we still haven't gone through the
And
door,
I got
right?
13.
So again, you can tell that whatever light is pulsing from inside of there, it's not technological in nature.
Can I get a sense of anything since I don't really see the light?
Yeah, all you see really is, yes, the shimmering contours, but it's basically a straight tunnel headed into a big room beyond, but that room is more than 30 feet away, so you can't quite tell what's inside of it.
Okay. I mean, if you guys are having trouble seeing, you want me to take the lead? My vision's not the best right now, but I'm not being blinded. Now you guys know what I feel like.
If you need assistance, I actually could help you at the same sight as you, but for now, I don't mind putting my faith in you.
So, I'll more slowly cross that threshold and keep my force sense open wide to see, try to catch anything that might catch us off guard.
When you get to the room, this is what you guys see.
Oh.
I see nothing. Joke's on you.
No, you see a big room with massive kyber crystal deposits in it.
Well, I'll be.
That's
And
beautiful.
while at the other academy on Tatooine, you had like, the standard green, yellow, blue colors. Here you have like crazy like off-white / like blue, but like very pale blue, like ice blue almost colored crystals. You've got all sorts of different colors. It's not
Variants
just
of
like
colors. Variants.
Yeah, instead of the traditional 3, correct.
Zuri will look down at her lightsaber for a moment and kind of look back at all the colors and go, huh. I wonder if this is where he brought me my crystal.
Huh. You didn't get your own crystal.
I did, but it was such a strange feeling to say, especially from a Jedi a Padawan even, but it didn't suit me. And I don't mean that in a stubborn sort of way. I mean that it didn't feel... I couldn't connect with it properly. And at first I thought
Understandable.
it was something that had to do with me and the Force or something. But my master explained to me that I had a very unique power. It was quite strong, and the crystal that I brought back, that I thought I connected with, didn't represent me and the uniqueness behind it. So he gifted me with this instead. Told me that I did technically earn it, since I earned the other one and fought for it, but I always thought it was strange and different because, as you have seen before, my lightsaber is a bit more on the tealish gray side, not a traditional blue like normally it is.
Oh, it's not?
I wonder if he got... Actually, if you look at my banner outline or my character card outline, it's actually that color. Kind of a
Don't see
grayish.
colors.
I'm talking about you, the player, okay?
I know.
I'm a method actor.
It's funny you're doing that when your camera's blurred.
I know.
Order in the courtroom.
I refuse.
Mibble
But
sort of like
yes.
examines some of the crystals as they're passing by and like, so how exactly do these things work or whatever? I mean, I know you're supposed to use them for your lifesaver thingies, but I never really understood why you just can't just mine them out and hand them out that way.
Not that we can't. That's
matter of-
part of our journey to collect them ourselves.
Yeah, it's a matter of like, what's the term?
Path of right
Can you
Path of
three
right.
force
Padawan.
sensitives?
to knight.
Can you three force sensitive also roll me a little roll here, because there's more to it than that. Can you give me either lore, nature, or survival?
Where nature is
I'm gonna go with
survival. It is.
I'm gonna go with lore, even though it's not my highest one.
Mhm.
But I'm gonna get a dirty 20.
I got a 19
Okay.
on survival.
God, see, I'm so done with my dice. I'm either mid
You're
or
a Jedi.
low.
Advantage. Roll again.
Oh, thank God.
Wait,
You
do we
rolled
all
one
get
again, but
advantage?
that's a new
Okay,
roll.
that's better.
Yes.
We all
You
get
all
it.
get advantage. Yes. You're Jedi.
16. At least that was better. I rolled a frickin' 4 the first time. I was like,
Okay,
ugh.
You all rolled above 15. That was enough. You guys are gonna remember one little thing here. Kyra crystals are alive. They're not sentient, but they're alive. You can't just drill them out of the ground.
Right.
You'll kill.
You have to extract them, and it's a little more complicated than just, hey, give me the drill, Bob.
Yeah.
Bob, give me the drill. We're getting some more Kyber
Still,
crystals.
Mibble's gonna keep looking around. If he finds a piece that maybe fell on the ground or something, he'll pick it up.
Okay. Can you roll me real quick? Give me a minute. I'm gonna have you roll something for giggles here. Let's see if the force is willing. Actually, let me get the 8-ball app out.
Try again another day.
There, the magic 8-ball. Let's see what the force has to say here. Alright, it says most likely. So you are looking around, and you will find on the ground a small kyber crystal that must have chipped off one of the bigger ones.
If we have the time, maybe on the way out, I'd really like to collect one of these crystals.
Okay.
With,
What color is the crystal?
I'm about to roll for that in 1 second.
All right.
Technically, the crystals meant for our lighting ceremony. You already have a lightsaber, so what would you use the crystal for instead?
The abilities that I will gain through my studies will allow me to wield more than one at the same time. So I'm going to have to build myself more.
Ah, That does make sense.
I mean, I'm not in a rush or anything, but it's just hard to pass up a chance to get one since there are so hard to find.
If I may ask,
Mm-hmm.
how does it feel to you to wielding a lightsaber?
I feel at peace, really.
It's more of
I-
a extension of my own energy.
It makes me feel like I have purpose. Purpose to do many things, to defend and perhaps even end conflicts. It's a bit inspiring as a symbol, I suppose, not to sound too cliche with it, but it does give me peace whenever I wield it.
Interesting.
For me, it's more of it's just an extension of my own energy, further reaching, feeling my control over the Force and everything expand out further from myself. It's not in the same way like when you master the blade, it can, with the vibro weapons, that can become an extension of yourself, but this is different. It's more natural.
Natural. Interesting. Thank you for indulging my inquiries.
Well, what color would you plan on getting then? The same as what you have before, or something different?
I would like to get one. Unfortunately, colors don't hold much of a meaning for me, but if you could point me towards one that is close to the colors my sister wore, I'd like to get one to represent her. As we were twins, she is much a part of me as I am of myself.
I think it's an odd way to remember her. Of course. Sorry, she was the purple one or the red one?
Blue.
Maroon one. Blue. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, get a little red lightsaber. Yeah.
It was I know.
More maroon, but yes.
I have the purplish, and she kind of had the lightish blue. Not quite teal, but it's like a light blue. It's actually very similar to the ones in the photos. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I will go ahead and grab one of those actually. Of the color closest to kind of like a little bit of a sky blue, so not quite ice. You could see the bluish hue to it without it being so light.
Yep.
But still bright enough for you to know, like, that is a light blue.
So Mibble, I rolled in randomly, and you got a, like, probably because it got hurt in order to fall off of the original crystal it was a part of or whatever. You have one. It is it is orange colored.
Okay.
For Davi, can you please roll me straight up wisdom?
17.
Okay. So right off the bat, you manage to. It takes you a couple of hours because it just takes a couple of hours. You manage to coax the crystal into giving you an offshoot, as you've acquired a sky blue kyber crystal.
I think we got distracted a little bit.
Thank you guys for indulging me, to giving me the time to do this.
Of course.
Well, I mean, in the meantime, I
Yes, we
said,
built
Tiger,
something
you
good
also
after us.
wanted to try to get yourself a crystal, right?
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead.
Wisdom 2.
Yes, please.
19.
Okay. So yes, you will also manage to extract yourself a crystal. And yes, it'll be mint green in color.
Perfect.
Tea fresh.
I appreciate
right.
you all indulging me in this. Something
Of
I've come to
course.
realize I might need to be able to do what needs to be done.
And as you say those words, you guys are gonna hear a low rumble coming from the entrance, almost like an angry beast. But before you can turn around to see what it is, we're gonna stop the session here for tonight,
Rawr.
Your cliffhangers.
and you'll have to figure out what that was next week.
I'm over at his cliffhanger. Is it within 30 feet of me? I can see it without turning around. Just kidding. I'm not being that
Stop
person.
it.
It's fine.
No, well, actually, you'd
It's
still have to
35
turn
feet
around.
away.
But yes, so that's going to be the end of today's session. If you have fun with us, please feel free to check out our other shows. We have Destiny Forge on Mondays. For now, TOTOR, or Tales of the Outer Rim, our Star Wars show, which we are having today on Tuesday, is still alternating, but there is talks of potentially having it on every Tuesday, depending on how our staff feels. Or cast feels, sorry. Alternating Tuesdays, we've got the Tricorn Isles, which is our 5e pirate show. And it alternates with our Mass Effect Horizons show, which is a Mass Effect 5e system. And then on Saturdays, we've got alternating shows. We've got Withered Wastes and Wayward Wanderers, which are, I think one of them is our Pathfinder, right?
Yes.
And the other one is our 5e post-apocalyptic, if memory serves.
Yep.
But that being said, yeah, that's give or take what we're doing right now. And then obviously first Saturday of every month we've got Behold Lore, and last Saturday, I believe, of every month now, we have a new show that we have been cooking, which is going to be X-Men themed. Fun. So yes, we will be having a little bit of fun with that on the last Saturdays of the month. Started off as a one-shot, and we decided we liked it so much that we'll turn it into a bit of a mini-series of some kind. So that's more or less what you guys can look forward to in the next couple of weeks. I hope you had fun with us here today. A little bit of a slower episode today, but we'll start with the tires screeching on the next one. So yeah, hope you guys had fun. I'll see you guys then, and yeah, thanks for everything.